So yeah, people are going to be joining us here in YouTube. So we want to say welcome back. We promised everybody we'd stop by for a little bit. Same group of friends here hanging out, and we're gonna uh, give a shout out to CFC. And we just watched the giveaway over there, and so yeah, people are going to be joining us here.
Oh.
All the friends are here.
All right.
Every time.
So it's about 7 seconds. I thought it was like 30, but it's really just like.
All
Okay,
right.
cool, cool.
So you guys can hear us. That's one thing I run into here. Let me explain this to them. I don't know if they're catching this. So one thing I run into very quickly is when we get to YouTube, I have to hurry up, mute the YouTube live so it doesn't bleed over into us talking into the Zoom. I have two windows open here. So sometimes that little overlap happens before I can click the button quick enough. So if you heard that, I apologize. And that's what it is.
Just a little echo. No biggie. It happened to me at first, and I'm like, "Where's the window?" I couldn't find it. It kept doubling, and it was starting to feed back there. It's like, what's going on? Slowly.
You sound really low, Crack Babies, like you might be far away from your speaker
I am.
or your mic.
Yeah, there we go.
There
That's
you go.
better.
Perfect. Thank you,
Perfect,
buddy.
yeah.
Thank you.
I was
And
comfy,
yeah,
but the
so
mic was
Crack
fine.
Babies, Puffy D's here, and you guys can go for it. I'm going to mute myself for a second.
Cheers, gang. Congrats to what was the name of Big Buds? Big Bud
Yeah,
something.
big buds.
BBG, I called them there. Anyways, it's a nice light, man. Congrats.
Yeah, yeah.
Be nice to see that email. You won.
Right.
That's some nice big
Oh,
lights
yeah.
coming there.
That
Don't
that's
just
gonna make
announce
his day or
an
her
FC
day.
8000 and
Whoever
a
it is,
Smart
gonna
8
make their day.
coming up.
That's
So
a
great.
Exactly.
yeah. That's definitely a good light to win.
That's an
Yeah,
email
that's
you want to wake up
$1,000
to,
fixture.
and it'll probably be on a Monday morning, which is nice.
Yeah, what a great Monday they're going to have, right?
Yeah, right.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
that would be something nice to wake up to.
Sure. So let's go see, man. Is anybody here?
I was just going to say, let me go check my
Check her out.
It's Mod Parker. There we go.
Ah,
we got one person.
Oh. Nice.
Yeah, what a great Monday they're going to have, right?
There we go.
That would be
Keep it running. I don't see
There
nothing.
we
though.
go.
Oh, because you're the one who's talking there, so it's black. Oh, black.
all right. We got. It's not
And,
the easiest to navigate all this for me yet, so I sure hope people bear with us. It's cool that we do seem to have like I can think of maybe 10 people that always come by our lives on Sundays or whatever we seem to pop up, and I really appreciate those 10 people. I hope someday we could be like some of these other shows where we have 50, 100, 150 people hanging out here with us
Mhm.
talking different stuff. And I'll always remember these 10 people that were there for the first 20 episodes or whatever. They stuck with us.
Yeah,
I hope they're
the
still there,
the
right?
OGs. Yeah, the OGs.
Yeah, the OGs.
Yeah, most of them don't know. It's mostly CFC that we told, about this,
Yeah,
that we
yeah.
would do that. So
But the more videos that we get through, the more views that it'll these shows will get, and we'll start getting more people jumping on and
well,
actually
they got
catching it
notifications. Huh?
live.
All
I
the
mean, because
subs
you
there.
can look at your past videos, look at how many views you've got on them.
Yeah, exactly. That'll tell you how many people are dropping by and checking.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you
They're
got the
going up.
analytics and all that, right?
We already
I didn't even
Our-
get the notification yet there. You know what I mean?
the analytics on our show for today was 109 views, and the best Dazed and Confused so far only had like 120 views, so we were almost
Damn,
Yeah,
that's
beating it.
pretty good.
Yeah, so it seems like it picked up a little bit, but I haven't really went to see like it'll tell me the duration the average duration of views and how long you stick around, how many people came from a known source, like they were subscribers of ours, and how many people who came from just random or whatever. I forget how they worded, but it's
Well,
pretty cool.
what you need to do is start posting stuff up on your IG more often throughout the
Yeah,
week.
I do.
Yeah, we should do some advertising.
that'll-
We don't.
I've been meaning to do that a little bit more,
I
but
mean,
like,
yeah,
I got a
would,
ton of
but
graphics,
I
man.
don't
Those
have a whole lot of followers like you guys have yet. So I mean, I've got like 75 followers or something.
you see
So
those images I made with the Wombo art or whatever there?
yeah,
I made
yeah.
like 40 of them there that says Dazed and Confused on them.
yeah, I
You
know.
could
I
potentially
saw it.
just use each one like every day,
We
one every
should do
day,
that.
and you
Yeah,
know,
just use
10
it as a
a.m., 2
background or
p.m.,
whatever.
you know,
Yeah.
Sunday
We can
morning.
write.
Be a good advertising. And they're cool, man. Like I use terms like trichome, macro, you know, DWC. You see some water ones, but that's mostly for mine. 'Cause I made some for my name too. But there's even one I made for cocoa for cannabis, and it has like a coconut in the middle drawn. It's pretty funky looking, man. It's such a trippy art, man. I spend hours on that thing, just putting in all sorts of keywords to see what happens, and then you can funk
But
it
I
up
could
with the
even
options.
design you a background with the Dazed and Confused logo, you know, just something great big, and you can just fill in, you know, join us, you know, on this date or whatever.
It'd be nice to put Sun in front of Dazed and Confused, the logo from the movie, right? Because that's what we're referring to is that movie, Dazed and Confused, and it's Sundays, right? So it'd be nice
Well, I
if
mean,
we
I
could
could
somehow use
design a
that.
whole logo around the name.
I can't remember what the movie logo looks like though.
Yeah, I'd have
Was
to
it
look it up because it's been a while since I've seen it too.
or use some kind of 70s kind of font or whatever there? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause it
I've
was
got
No, yeah, that's
plenty
cool.
of the
Bell bottoms and
70s groovy 70s hippie type
Yeah,
font, you know, in my library. So yeah, it'd be easy to do.
that'd be cool.
I'm sorry there, fellas. I tuned
Oh,
out.
Helly Duck, how's it going, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hi.
Hey, good evening.
Kelly Dog. Hello.
Hello, Doc.
Got the camera
How's it
sitting
going?
in the tent tonight.
Nice.
Nice.
All right, let me see if I can get over there and get you to the. I wanted to tell them guys I kind of checked out on them for a second there, and I went over to the YouTube and was trying to put up a pin for these guys.
Adam Sisson, g'day. Helly, that's you. Gigi. A few people.
Yes.
My phone's not working. I gotta.
And Buffy. Hey, Buffy.
Hemp with Gigi should have a wrench now
Cool.
Oh,
because I know. That,
got knighted.
yes, they asked.
Yeah.
Hemp with Gigi gave us all wrenches to help watch the chat over there, and I figured we could return it. They could help watch our chat. It seems like the
Got a
robots
nice
have been
wrench
out.
to cook now.
Yeah, there you go.
GG, GG, I'm still smoking on this Lincoln log that I made during your show.
Nice. Oh, you lit the other one there? The one you made? I didn't see the picture.
Yeah,
Did
the
you
one
show
that
it?
I made that in his show. I started smoking on it during his show
Okay.
during the whole time that I was there, and then after I left there, I went ahead and let it go out, and still smoking on it.
So you're smoking the other 4/5 of it?
Yeah.
Because it
Yeah.
burns so damn slow. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Never ending joint. I like it. I want one. Yeah, I'll make a short time.
It's definitely $15. I mean, you cannot beat it.
Yeah, no, and it seems simple enough. Right?
And you just smoke on it for hours.
It's a good idea. Just need to get the damn mold now.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That person was able to in that light over there. Big. What was their names again?
Big Buds.
I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
got,
Big Bud.
Just something like that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I was
It
just caught up in a thought of
Like I
it.
said,
Yeah,
I didn't know
yeah.
who it was. I'd never seen him in chat ever, I don't think.
No.
Might just be a
So
drone.
yeah,
I was sending vibes Puffy's way, I swear.
yeah, me
Yeah, a
too.
lot of
He,
us were
he's
there.
I had a feeling that I am not going to get anything close to 978. I don't know. I just have a feeling that all these numbers that are going to be drawn are going to be like at the mid numbers, like 300 to like 600 in that range.
I don't know.
We'll
So that's
see,
all
man.
right. I mean, whoever wins it, I hope that they need the light and that they can use it. So
Yeah,
Yeah, but that
And-
number's over there. You forget that number. You're never getting that number again. That was just for tonight and yesterday or last week. Because the next draw is the picture draw, so that's people voting, so it's not going to be the number.
Yeah,
The next
yeah.
draw, it's going to be
oh,
another one.
that's next week. That's the picture
Yes.
drawing.
No, it's Wednesday. No, sorry, the submission deadline is Wednesday, but I'm not sure when the draw is.
So
better get a
where do you
picture in.
submit your pictures at? And
There's
what?
actually a link on the
There's
website.
there's nothing to see, man. They're all in veg.
Yeah, well, the training you did or whatever.
it's a
That-
training picture.
Well, the
Oh,
newsletter
yeah,
said
they're
training and seedlings, so our first sprout, so I shot a pic of when they first
Yeah.
popped, and that's what I submitted. Before I dropped out, of course.
That's how, there's not much you
Oh,
can
I didn't
do. It's
know
the
that.
first
I thought
3,
it was
4
like
weeks, or-
once
weeks?
these hit flower, that's when the picture challenge was going to be going on, not
Yeah.
during the veg. Huh. Oh well.
We
It's
got a nice
it's that
picture.
one.
Well, you got till Wednesday to submit it. It's not too late.
Yeah, we got to
Just
be
go
on
take a
that. I
picture.
don't want to forget.
I don't know what you did.
I think we
You
have an
may not
edge with
done
that
anything.
triclon.
Okay.
Yep.
Shout out to Hemp with Gigi joining us.
Hello, Gigi.
Acro shot.
Cheers, everyone. Growers love. Growers
Cheers,
love.
your love.
Your love. Thanks for coming around.
Yeah, thanks for doing it, man. It's pretty cool to have a place to go after the chat ends.
Oh,
Yeah,
Gigi,
after
yeah.
party.
Yeah.
I actually say good day to everyone. Like that's.
Yeah.
I'm not
still,
Australian
Still
or nothing.
token on this, Gigi.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I was hearing. Still token on it. You crazy.
Still token.
The gang
See
gets
how
feeding
many
time at the
joints have you
zoo
rolled
here,
up
so-
in that time?
I don't want to talk about it. No, a lot. Probably like
Thirsty.
4 or
Helen,
5 since we ended.
I would open my tent up, but I've been having a hard time. We've been having a hard time keeping the humidity and with the cold spell and shit. So it's not too bad right now. And
right.
once I open it up, it's gonna drop the humidity. So I'm thinking, we're
And the
just hanging out.
temperature.
And
So,
the temp.
like, yeah, it's giving us a hard time without adding extra equipment.
So I'm just gonna.
Yeah, I've got a humidifier, a warm mist humidifier in my lung room to pre-moisten the air as much as I can out here, and then I have a evaporative humidifier in the flower tent to keep it up to about 50%, 45 to 50%, and then a atomizer humidifier in the veg tent to keep it up to 65. And they're all struggling.
Definitely some wide ranges of accepted humidity and temperature. I
But
wouldn't
it's
panic.
like it's like outdoors, it's maybe about 18, 19% relative humidity.
Yeah, you can go
dew
below
point-
50 in
Dew
flower.
points at 0.
Hey, shout out to Krusty Socks 1975 in the chat. Good friend of ours. We see him around a lot. Big Instagram following, always in the chats everywhere. So nice to see him stop by.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
Krusty Socks. That's a name you don't forget.
Yeah,
You
that's
know
a
what I
pretty,
mean?
that's a cool
Krusty
one.
Socks.
Always
Yeah.
cringe a little bit, but I kind of like it too. It makes me smile, you know?
Good.
I'm cutting onions.
But yeah.
Yeah, everybody has a name or a story behind their name. You kind of
It's
I don't know if
catchy.
you'd want to know the story behind Krusty's socks.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
everyone kind of knows the story behind that. It's like a certain degree, but then it can get a little nastier there. I don't know.
Oh boy.
I just wanted to also say that the in the link there is a pinned, what is that called, a pinned comment, I guess, with the link to join up. So just like Jack always says, if you want to join up, make sure you do so with a name that we'll recognize from chat, and boom, we'll get you on. You can show your grow, hang out, talk.
Do you have to wear clothes?
Yes,
No,
you
you
have to
can
wear
come
clothes.
naked. It
You
can be a
can
naked
close.
party.
As long as you don't put it on your naked body, the camera, you can be naked, I guess, as much as you want, right? As long as we don't get subjected to looking at it, I guess.
Ah.
I'm naked.
Ross says
There's-
someone is rolling dice on their mic.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I hear it too.
I think that's,
Probably GG.
yep, I'm blaming it on GG.
What I do?
Some people burn better
Uh,
naked, no?
Are you doing stuff? Are you moving stuff around?
Maybe. Maybe I'm
Are
cutting
you
onions.
opening up a tent so we get to see?
No, I'm
Yay.
cutting. I'm cutting onions. That's might be what you hear.
Yeah, that's what
Oh,
it
okay.
is. Yeah.
Oh,
My bad.
What are you
It might be
making?
Helly there. It might be Helly.
Yeah,
Ross
no.
said it sounded like someone rolling dice on their mic.
Oh, my bad. My
Gigi,
bad.
what are you cooking up? I'm curious. What are you making?
Sloppy Joes.
Ooh,
Nice.
I like a sloppy Joe.
Yep.
Sloppy Joe. Yeah.
She sang the song. You guys
She
get a
did.
rare glimpse behind the scenes here at the Crispy Wannabe.
All that excitement from, the lake giveaway.
Yeah,
and the
she
party.
sings, she dances. That does sound good though. Onions. And,
Yeah.
You gotta add onions to the sloppy Joe. Do a little
Yes.
Good
ASMR.
to have that in the dead of winter sometimes, because it'll remind me of like a hot summer picnic style meal, and those are good to have in the dead of winter when like we're getting a little pummeled with snow right now.
Our
Are you
friend
guys getting
Ross
hit with
thinks
snow
that
again?
being naked is good IPM.
See, it's good
Yeah,
fun.
that's true.
Yeah, no,
Guys-
we had -13 2 nights ago. That's what it was outside. -13.
Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy,
That's
crazy
good IPM.
weather.
That's really good IPM as well.
Yeah, those
Yeah,
cold
right.
temps.
That'll kill everything.
know?
It's sterile
Gigi, you're
out
in
there.
you're in upstate, aren't you?
Yes, sir. In that general area.
Cool.
Yeah, in that general area.
I don't want you to
friend,
think I'm
You guys get a lot of the weather that comes through here first. It seems like that the way that the jet stream drops down during the winter, it hits my area, then just makes a like immediate little diagonal line all the way across to where you guys are at.
Yep.
Seems to drag it all the way up through you guys. I have a buddy in New York who is always saying, whatever you're getting, I'm going to get 2 days later.
Yeah.
That's why you guys get so many hurricanes or twisters, because the cold from the north and the hot from the southwest is colliding right over your state.
We got another 4 or 5 inches today. I'm sure that the
Dang.
way that the radar, it looked like it was coming off of the Great Lakes. So I'm assuming that New York got pounded again today as well. We're probably sitting on.
So you're getting the lake effect snow.
Yeah, we probably got a
Snow
foot of
squalls,
snow
man.
altogether right now.
Those are real, man. Like you can get 20 inches in no time. We had to
Hey, man, I
literally
remember
stop
in
on the side of
1990
the highway, just
I-
because we couldn't even drive.
Yes, I remember 1993, man. It hit and it kind of just parked right over top of us. The lake effect snow. We were getting, it was ridiculous. I want to say it was like an inch an hour or half an inch an hour, and it lasted for days. We ended up missing
Yeah,
school
really
for
high
like 2
winds.
Yeah, for like 2 weeks,
Yeah.
man. We didn't have any school or anything. I mean, I remember walking around and it was like waist high in some places. It was ridiculous, and that's just not, that shut everything down. But you don't see that very often for it to come here and park. Usually we'll get a lake effect snow and it'll dump like 6-8 inches and it's here for a day, 2 days, and it kind of melts away if
Melts
you're lucky.
off,
But
yeah.
yeah, very rarely do we have like really long extended periods of freezing. I mean, you'll see some stretches, but nothing super crazy like we did that year. That was 1993, man. It was crazy. It was like one of the worst. Great Lakes of Erie.
Yeah, we haven't had any really bad snowstorms around here. I mean, they don't happen. I mean, it's like a once in a blue moon, occurrence here. When it does, it'll drop like maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 feet of snow on us at one time, and that'll be it. It'll be done, but we'll be buried for, a week after that. But yeah, those don't happen very often here.
Yeah, and when it does, it shuts it down, huh? I hear that a lot. Like people say, we get 1 or 2 inches and everything shuts down, and
They got nothing
Well,
to move the
no,
snow, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
they do a good job around here of keeping everything clean. I mean, they've got trucks already out on the roads, beforehand, preparing them, putting down sand, and they're pre-treating the roads with some I can't remember what it is, but it's some liquid that they spray down on
brine,
the roads.
brine.
Salt.
It's not brine, it's something else. They use
Oh, okay.
some sort of other chemical because the brine will just
Calcium?
it'll tear the roads up here, so they don't.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. That's
But yeah,
just
they use
bad, man.
some other liquid
Okay.
to pre-treat the roads, so they'll stay. I mean, they'll stay pretty clean for the most part. It's your side roads that'll get all snowed in, but everybody around here drives big old jacked up 4-wheel drives, so all you have to do is wait for one of them to come down the street, and the street's clear. There you go.
They use potash here as well. A lot. It's like a byproduct of some shit. I don't know where it
Hardwood.
comes from, but
Comes from
potash.
hardwood.
Yeah,
And it
Yep.
melts
Yeah.
the ice.
yeah.
Cool.
It's black though. It looks like
Yeah.
and they'll mix it with salt sometimes. So you'll see black. It looks like black salt.
Yeah. Dirty salt there.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. They
And-
probably use it to be able to absorb and maintain heat better,
Yeah.
so it keeps the snow and the ice melted.
The
Oh
sun
yeah,
rays
just the
catching that,
color.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Shit, that's not a bad idea. They should paint
But
the
that's what
salt
they
black.
use, potash, man, and it's bad. Like and so if you have a white vehicle, or like if you have, you're walking the neck.
Yeah. All down your vehicle will be all like
Oh
this
man,
dark gray color.
dark black shit down
Yeah.
both sides of
Yeah.
the vehicle. It's on all over your boots if you're walking around, and
Well, nothing
yeah.
a dirt road wouldn't do, right? Like a mud
No,
road there.
Yeah, muddy
It'll
road.
be way worse.
Hey, I
Like
wanted
us
to
up here, it's
ask.
the salt, man. It's just salt is
Oh,
on
yeah,
everything,
that's
you
The
know.
salt. Yeah, you have
I
to
want-
definitely get the undercarriage washed after you get a storm.
Well, we get it oiled and everything around here because shit don't last.
I wanted
man.
to ask Heli Doc if I didn't know if he mentioned what strains those were. I know he said he needed a room, and but I don't. He's been quiet over there. I wanted to see if you wanted to tell us what's going on there. I see your nets up and everything, and
So on the left, I have Girl Scout cookies, and on the right, wedding cake.
Nice.
all right.
Vegged for about 8 weeks total.
Yeah.
As you guys are well aware, I had some issues at the beginning that I corrected, but they're nice and healthy, and about a week into flower, week since flip.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, you
You
can
have a full
already.
tent.
They look great.
And the reason why I keep muting is because I'm in the middle of feeding everybody, and I didn't think you guys wanted to hear running water.
Oh no,
all
you're
good.
good. I don't want to hold you up or anything. I didn't know.
Oh,
you were
no.
busy.
I'm enjoying the conversation. I just been listening to
Yeah.
you guys doing my thing, you know?
I keep seeing your
Alright.
fans, those fan leaves shaking around every so often, and I'm sitting here looking at them thinking, man, those look pretty good. And then I just started daydreaming, thinking, what are those? I know that you probably. I hear so much shit. I kind of some of it, I'm a stoner.
hear
Some
that.
of it,
Ah,
but yeah, that everything looks good there, man. You said you had some
Well,
problems.
thank
You sure can't tell now. The training looks pretty spread out, catching the light. Shit. Hell
Good.
yeah.
Not bad for a newbie.
Not bad at all.
No, well,
No, not bad at all.
I'd take those for sure.
Yeah.
Lots of flowering sites there. You say it's been a week. It looks like you got some pom-poms already setting on all them tops.
Yeah, I'm a little bit behind on getting the net completely in. Kind of.
Yeah, when you say newbie, what do you?
Well,
How many
Well, okay,
grows
so
do you have?
so the last time I regular was about 40.
I think that might be
76.
your microphone there, Heli Doc.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crackling.
Hear me better?
Try again.
That's well. If you don't talk, it's okay. Try talking.
All right, here you go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
All right. Sorry
Yeah.
about that. Old headset trying to make it work. So yeah, I grew from 79 to about 82 regularly. I started growing in about 76,
Wow.
stopped in the summer of 82 up until last year when I got diagnosed with esophageal cancer. So
Oh damn.
that's where
Oh.
I'm at with it. So the last year I've been messing around with soil. Didn't have a lot of good results out of it up here. That and a lot of it's been, being on a fixed income, getting equipment in, getting it all locked down. And so it's been a learning curve. Found
Hopefully it'll pay off soon.
found cocoa for cannabis, and that tipped the scale right there. As soon as
It's
I
a
was
game
like,
changer for sure.
well, as soon as I got in my head the ratios, you got to stay consistent with them. That was, again, getting rid of some of the old shit into the new shit, and going from there.
Nice. No, you can't go
Bro,
wrong with
Heli
Dotson
Doc,
for-
we got this blunt here we're gonna smoke in honor of your cancer that you definitely are gonna beat if you didn't already beat it.
It's in remission, by the way.
Cheers.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Just
no,
win.
I definitely owe it to cannabis. My cancer team is just like, they were like, we don't know what else to do, and they were getting ready to ship my ass off to the Mayo Clinic because they were out of options, and I had already started cannabis about 3 months prior to that, both edibles, smokables, that kind of thing. And the last checkup I went in, it was clear, and they're like, we don't know what the hell. And I'm like, this is what the hell.
Yeah,
Awesome.
right.
That's
Yeah,
an
right.
amazing story.
Well,
That's
we're gonna
like,
smoke for that for sure.
yeah, for sure. That's
Right
that's
on,
an
Heli.
awesome story. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
I can't believe you were sitting on that, man. You was here
I
all
know,
that
that's
time.
a gem.
That's something
Well,
we definitely want to know and
Living
to
proof
be
it
able to
works,
celebrate.
man. What the hell?
And I've just been, how can I put it? I was taught early on by my grandfather, who fought in World War I, that the smartest man in the room is usually the quietest. And so a lot of times I will log online and just sit and listen, because
Yeah.
hey, if I can learn something new every day, that's a good day for me, and hell, with CRS, if I can remember it, even better.
Uh,
Oh, for sure.
Right on. No,
I guess
that's-
the onus
way
is
to go about it.
always feel like the onus is on me to keep the conversation perpetuated. So you make me feel bad. Now I'm always running my hole over here and talking too much. But no, I get what
Man,
you're
you
saying, and
shut
I want to
up,
say that
Spot. Just
you're-
shut your mouth and open your ears.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it
you're
right there. I mean, you'll look and listen, and yeah, I mean, I grew 40 years ago and did okay back then. I mean, it was Southern California, so that was the
Yeah.
atmosphere I had to deal with. But I would be a fool to come back in it 40 years later and think I know what the hell I'm doing, because I sure as hell don't.
Right.
We didn't
right.
have LEDs back then. Hydroponics was literally just getting started.
Yep.
And honestly, they just were, shit. I'm trying to remember if it was earlier towards the mid 70s when they figured out, hey, Sensimilla was it.
Yeah,
Right.
see, no seeds
You-
there. Yeah.
So I mean, again, it's coming in the room, being respectful, listening, and learning as much as you can, and experimenting. I mean, and if you're not enjoying yourself, you're doing it
Well,
wrong.
even if you had been out of the scene for a long time, there's still techniques and things that you picked up while you were growing that a lot of people today don't know about.
Yep. And I think you're considered one of the OGs. You were doing it back way when it was illegal for every single person all across the country, and
Well, I mean, our lighting, we were stealing street lights back then.
Yep.
right.
That was
Literally.
That's
SPS.
the
We
real
needed a light,
OGs,
we
man.
went out and we stole them. I mean, I hate to, older now, yeah, that was stupid, but hey,
Right,
that's what
right.
you did back
Hey,
then.
it's
I
real
mean,
life,
Yep.
right?
And that's you're right, but I just think it's like your generation is, and not to make you feel old or whatever, but your generation seems like it might be uh you kept some of the strains alive and kept it going, and when like I said, when it wasn't legal and everything. So yeah, that's kudos to all the old heads out there. That's what I like to call them, and that's a term of endearment, the old heads.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank
Well,
you for that.
it's people like you that got to grow those OG strains that aren't around anymore that you can't get. So, and I've had some of those strains. I mean, I'm old enough to have been able to experience some of those strains that, people like you were growing it back then, like back before, I came out of diapers. So, you know what I mean?
I hear you. But see, like I said, it's all about attitude. You got to enjoy doing this. And for somebody like me, like I said, coming into it, it's shut up and listen, because these, and I hate to say it, please, I'm not putting you guys down, but these kids know what the fuck they're doing. So shut up and listen.
Yeah. Well, there's
Well-
so much more information out there and so many resources to pull from that these younger people are actually doing it and putting in the science to figure out, these light spectrums and which ones work the best and which ones don't work at all and which ones, are beneficial or not, or, light schedules and your VPD and your,
Yep.
your EPAR and
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely. I mean, that's
the
why
EPAR is the new thing now, so it's constantly changing.
It's evolving, right?
well,
It's
and you need to be able to grow with it.
defining.
I mean,
Right,
that was
right,
probably the
yeah.
biggest hump I had to overcome. You need to be able to learn to grow with it.
Yep.
Period.
And with each grow, it's a new
If you don't,
learning
you're gonna get left
experience
behind.
and experiment.
Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Each grow
That's
is
part of the
different.
fun.
Well, like I said, if you're
Well,
not enjoying
with
yourself,
each-
you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, with each grow, you
Amen
should
to
learn
that.
something new. You should push yourself to learn something new.
Hey,
I
I've said
like- I
on here
like the
many
f-
times, man, that it seems like the more that we learn, the more I realize what I don't know. It's like, oh, really? There's all this plant physiology. Then it gets into the roots and it gets into photosynthesis. Like I think it was Crack Babies the other day. It said just photosynthesis alone is enough to make your head spin trying to figure all that out. And when you get into so many different active transport, passive transport, and like Puffy D was just saying, all the different environmental factors, and it's a lot to put together. So it's a blast
Well,
to do it.
like I said, it's a learning experience. I mean, it's
Yeah.
hard to learn all that at once, but each grow, you're going to learn something new. Like I said,
Yep.
because you're going to get something down your first grow, and you're going to learn what not to do on your second grow. So that grow is going to be better, but you're still going to run into some sort of problem during that grow that you're going to have to correct, which means that you gained that much more knowledge. So the next grow is going to be that much more better because you're going to have everything else that you screwed up on before. You're going to have all of that corrected, and you're going to be watching out for until the
That's-
next problem. So the more grows that you can get under your belt, the more knowledge you're going to gain throughout that process of growing.
Oh, yeah.
That's the challenge, right?
Yeah.
Is
Oh,
to
absolutely.
learn.
And you're talking about learning information. And one of the biggest challenges that I found trying to get back into it was trying to, I don't know, part the seas from
Relearn
the
it
difference
with the new
between
technology.
bro science and actual science.
Exactly. That's where I
And,
had the
and,
worst
and
problem.
the different sites that were out there going, oh my God, what are these guys
Right.
talking about?
Right. Reddit is the worst place for advice on growing.
Oh,
Don't go by the
seriously.
amount of likes on the answer.
I've
You're in
I've got
trouble, man.
500,000
Go by
likes, so I know what I'm
consensus.
talking about.
That must be the right answer because this got 70 likes and the other one's got
Yeah.
3.
Oh hell, Reddit's nothing but a popularity contest.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's pretty much
Karma
an echo
fest.
chamber.
It's a karma fest. They're just harvesting
Someone
karma.
says something and somebody else says it, and it just keeps, perpetuating itself until everybody believes it, whether it be true or not.
Exactly. It's to me, it makes no sense. Really, it's
No,
nonsensical.
no. I
It
mean,
goes
I take
against
everything
learning.
with a grain of salt until I actually experience it in my grow and I deal with it. And then once I deal with it, then I know I can tell somebody, okay, in my experience, this is what happened and this is what I did to correct it.
Science
There you
doesn't
go.
care about your feelings, right?
Oh, hell
So
no.
karma
And-
Right,
should have
right.
nothing to do with any of that. You know what I mean?
Right,
There
right.
shouldn't be any fame or you know what I mean. We're just sharing information. The
You're
platform
right,
was great,
right.
but the system
hand
they
out books
implemented
and
was.
shit, deadhead.
Yeah. Because
That
I'd
was the
show up
internet
there.
of the day back then, you know?
You answer
Yeah.
a guy trying to help him out, and everyone's downvoting the right answer, and everyone's upvoting the wrong answer.
Popularity.
So it's like, what what am I doing here? Why am I wasting my time? Because the poor guy there, he's asking he's gonna follow the answer that's got all the likes. 'Cause he doesn't
Right,
know, right?
Doesn't know
right.
any better.
Man.
Yeah, I mean,
That-
that's what they're
He'll be
trying to do
back.
is to find it. So,
See,
yeah.
that's
Probably
why
not to Reddit.
when you stumble across a site like Cocoa for Cannabis,
Yeah.
and you've got people out there doing the experiments, putting down the numbers, I mean, how can you go wrong with that?
I heard Doc, and just the way he was talking about the science and all that, it's like, yeah, this
Yeah.
is the guy that I believe what he's saying, and he's taking the scientific approach. He says it very clearly, there's no opinion on these things. It's, this is the way to, because it would be the opposite. You would talk about some bro science stuff and just, it just doesn't work that way. Like plant physiology doesn't work that way. How is,
Right.
that's just not possible.
Yeah,
So
there's some things that
it's like, oh, well,
like
that's
I
why
said,
it didn't
plant
work.
physiology isn't going to change.
Yeah, so he opened my eyes to many things that I just like, no wonder, So from then on, everything went well. Everything he said came true.
Mhm.
Made a huge
Yeah.
difference in my grow. I mean, seriously.
You can't fail if you follow what Doc says. And I'm not even growing in cocoa. I'm a DWC guy. And
Right.
still, everything here is what got me where I'm at.
Thanks for
Common
coming, him.
sense.
GG.
Sure, did you?
Didn't see him drop out.
You took off.
Yeah.
Does.
Yes, thank you, Gigi. It was awesome to hang out with you for a little bit. Enjoy your sloppy joes.
Oh,
that's right.
man, that's going to make me hungry.
I know. It was making me hungry as soon as he said something about it.
Oh,
I'm
seriously.
Like,
Like I got a can of manwich out in the kitchen. I think I'll go grab shortly.
See, that manwich spans all generations,
Oh,
man.
it's good stuff.
Oh,
Great
yeah.
stuff.
It is.
Like a picnic in the cold, cold winter.
I, much to my doctor's discouragement, I usually add some hot peppers to it and stuff. Spice it up a little bit.
You kind of need that when it's so cold out.
Oh yeah.
Gigi knows.
Yeah.
We got that cold weather moving in on us now.
So here's a topic, and it's a little bit on the fun side, I guess.
All right.
You guys heard a little bit about my background, but what about yours? Your first encounter with our favorite plant. What were you doing?
That's good. That's like something that Eagle Gardens asked everybody. Like,
I'm not answering that question. You're gonna have to tune in Friday.
Well, I can tell you what.
Yeah.
First
But
time
everybody else
smoking,
can. Smart can. He already did the show. Right?
Let's see. I'm trying to think of when my first time was. It
My
was
first
after.
time.
It was after I
First time
graduated high
smoking
school,
it
I
or
believe.
growing it?
First encounter with it.
Okay.
First encounter.
Okay.
It'd be smoke.
First close encounter of the
That's
third
a good
kind.
question,
That's,
man.
Yeah.
If you
First
started
encounter.
growing, that's incredible.
Like seen it for the first time.
Seen it, touched it, smoked it, whatever. Your first encounter and what your thoughts were at the time.
Well, for me, I kind of already had a feeling that see, I was born in the 70s, so
Okay.
my parents were like 18, 19. around that age,
Right.
that time. So they, I mean, they're gonna smoke, just because that era. But anyway, I always had the idea that they smoked it because I could smell it coming from their bedroom every once. I swore that I could smell it. I mean, it wasn't until I was older and actually came into, firsthand contact with it, with it being passed around in a joint. Um, at that point that I actually came in contact with it, I knew that my parents, were toking every once in a while in their bedroom. So I was probably maybe 15, 16 whenever I realized that.
Okay. Good one.
Yeah.
Anybody
Cool.
else?
Yeah, I'll go. Because that's the reason that I don't know if you picked up on this, Helly Doc, but Crack Babies, it, like he said before, is going on Eagle Garden Show. Well, one of the questions that Eagle does is he tries to get to know each person better. So he asks them, when's the first time you ever smoked and grew and all these other things. So that's why he's apprehensive about answering. But I did
Understood.
answer, and mine was the very first time I remember smoking a joint was my friend Vincent had a joint, and we was going on our way to a 7th grade junior high dance, because that's where it would be. 7th to 9th grade was junior high around here. And so I'd have been 12 years old and on my way to a 7th grade junior high dance. And and he would have been a year or two older, and he got it from his brother. And I remember smoking it, and I was so excited, man. And I felt like, you're on the edge of your seat, like I'm doing something wrong, but it's exciting. And, all this shit. So I'm not even sure if I got high, man. I just remember it being like a whirlwind of a night between that and dancing with some girls, the whole deal. So it was crazy, man. But I never really gave up on it after that. I mean, we might have smoked. I think I didn't smoke again, maybe like the next weekend, but then you would get a couple weekends in between 3 weeks. But then as I got older, it did become more like every single weekend, and then every day after school, and then during school, and I won't go there, but yeah.
Right.
So, but yeah, that was what my first encounter, man. And like I said, and the cool thing is I still am friends with that guy today that I smoked with, and I don't see him as much as I'd like to now. He's got a whole basketball team full of kids, and I have none. So, that kind of separated us. And it's cool that I still know that dude.
Damn.
And I know his older brother at the time would never really give us the time of day, but now I know him just as well. And we've smoked for many, many years, and it's pretty cool. Those guys, they grew way before I did too, and
cool.
It was always, they were that kind of an influence. So
I just want to say that I accidentally hit comfortably numb in chat, and I apologize for that. My fingers are too big. I saw that there was a
I see. Yeah, it looks like she was trying to get rid of
a Russian spy or whatever.
She's trying to get rid of a Russian actor.
And my finger was too big, so
She fat fingered you comfortably numb.
I wanna I wish I could.
All right. Well, I tell you what.
Sorry,
now that we went, you're up now. Do you? Unless you don't want to go, do you want?
Oh no. This is fun. I mean, I think about it very fondly.
Yes.
In essence, picture. You guys have heard of the series The Wonder Years?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Love
Okay,
that.
Great.
So
show.
picture a group of kids. Picture a group of kids. There were 2 of us at the time. Ended up being 3, but there was 2 of us at the time, and we were up in the woods near my home, just cruising, being 12-year-old boys, that kind of thing. And we came across somebody's grow.
Ooh.
And we're like, is that what we think it is? We're 12 years old at the time, and we're like,
wow.
Yeah. So what we ended up doing is we ended up pulling up what was about a 6-foot plant and booking on home with it. We're like, we got to try this stuff. So we get home, and we don't know what the hell we're doing. We're trying to put fan leaves in his father's tobacco pipe and try and fire it up with that.
Yeah.
And then there's this knock on the door.
Oh.
Oh. Oh,
and we're
shit.
like, oh shit. And there's this guy standing outside my friend's door, because that's where we were at the time. Long hair, beard, didn't look too happy. And we're like, oh,
Oh,
shit,
shit.
here we
You
go.
stole yeah, he came
So
for
we
his
open
weed.
up the door and he takes one look at us and just starts laughing. He says, you boys up hiking up in the woods over there? And we're like, yeah, yes, sir.
Oh, man.
He says, well, before you guys get into trouble, he says, can I have my plant back? And so we gave it to him. He says, now tell you what, he says, since you're so curious about it, show back up where you found it tomorrow around noon. He says, and I'll teach you a little bit. And that's where I learned how to grow.
No way.
Oh, that's
Oh,
cool,
right
man.
on.
That's
So that
a
was
cool
my
dude,
first
man.
encounter with it. So he
That was a
actually, he
cool
worked
dude.
for the
Pretty
Forest
cool.
Service at the time. So he knew a lot of little nook and crannies to do some
Nice.
grows at.
Oh
Right
yeah,
on.
gorilla grows.
That's pretty cool.
That ended up being a really cool story. I thought it was going to go a whole different way, you know?
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah. So trust me, when he knocked on the door and we saw him, we were like, "Oh shit!" My friend was going through his dad's office looking for his gun and stuff.
Yeah.
Couldn't find it because it was locked up in the safe, of course. But it was like, "Oh, what do we do?" And I'm like, "You know what? If he's here, somehow he learned where we're at. We might as well face the piper."
Yeah. Damn,
So
man.
that's that one.
That's cool.
That's a cool story. I think
Funny.
Crispy Wannabe is going to go the same route as Crack Baby. She's been getting some attention lately on some of these shows, and I think she might want to save her story. Did you already tell it once or no?
I don't know if I have.
I don't think you did tell it
have
on
or
there.
not. I mean, I've told people about it.
Future Cannabis
Actually,
Project.
it's my first encounter for me was very pleasant, and I was hooked from the very beginning. I was a teenager. I grew up in amongst wonderful people in a farming community. A lot of good people, and was lucky enough to grow up near a drive-in theater where all my neighbors in the neighborhood, we'd gather around at this theater and have cake parties when we were teenagers. Well, one of my friends brought some weed and smoked it with me, and the rest is history. I felt like so great that night. I wish I could remember what movie was playing, but back then we didn't really pay attention to the movie. We're just like
Boys and girls.
coursing off and
Trying
trying not to get caught.
Movie at a drive-in.
Yeah, that's a dying thing now in America is drive-in theaters.
Oh man, that and
Oh,
roller
they
skating
they
rinks.
came back a little bit during the pandemic. I mean, I saw a bunch of drive-in theaters that opened up because you couldn't go into movie theaters.
Yeah, that was the
Oh,
only
outlets.
good thing about that is because they phased them all out where I live. They're all gone.
We have a
You had to go
couple.
to the theater. People kept getting in the trunk, and you know what I mean. They were losing
Yeah.
sales,
I
I
mean-
guess.
Hiding out in the trunk.
Yeah.
We have a couple.
Yeah, we only
that
have
they'll-
we only have
they
two
double
people in the
as,
car. Yeah, right. Open
flea
your
market.
trunk.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, get in within the well, you
with the keg
I
of
love
beer.
the drive-in. It was great, man.
Yeah,
that
the
was fun.
locals would jump the fence where we grew up, so there was like a back way in where you could get like a good 20 of your friends in.
Yeah,
that were
yeah.
local. You had to walk through some fields and stuff, but we were used to that.
You drop them off there, and they meet you at the drive-in.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like,
Yeah.
just take the trail there,
Yeah.
go around back.
And you drive in with one car and the beer.
People would
and-
have party balls and a cooler full of some god awful juice, some bottles of Mad Dog.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
Mad
Dog.
I have a story. about that.
Oh, that was
Those were the days,
poor
man.
man's
I-
wine.
Got lots of
Yeah.
good memories, like growing up near a
That
drive-in
stuff was
theater.
so nasty. Oh, I couldn't even stand it as a kid. Somebody bring that to a party. I'm like, oh, you can. That's all you, buddy.
Yeah, it tastes the same way coming up as it did going
stick
down, man.
I'll stick to my Bud Light.
So Mad Dog 2020, a little bit of a story about that. I got stationed over in Germany for a couple of years when I was in the service, and I got used to drinking the beer over there. Very strong, very
Oh yeah,
potent.
stout.
So
stout.
when I came back to the United States, my older brother decides, hey, you know, I'm going to get into a drinking contest with you. And we started pounding down beers left and right. And all I kept doing was going to the bathroom. He's like, the hell? I'm like, dude, I was just over in Germany for 2 years. He said, this is like drinking carbonated water for me.
Right.
Yeah, it's like
I
wine over
got
there,
something
man.
for you. And he went down to the liquor store and got 3 bottles of Mad Dog 2020. I remember about halfway through the second bottle, and I couldn't tell you what happened the rest of the
Damn.
I think I
man.
would have gotten sick.
I don't think
Yeah,
I've ever
the
tried that.
second bottle. That stuff is so nasty.
Oh, it is the nasty of nasty.
It's
I mean,
cheap,
when you're
too.
a
It's cheap.
kid, yeah, you're like, oh
That's
man,
what it
got some
was.
Bad Dog.
Yeah, or some Wild Irish Rose, some old Germans or something like that. There, you know, we used to get all that stuff down there, man.
Well, if you got a hold of a bottle of Everclear that was quite cheap, you could add a lot of liquid and get a lot of high schoolers
Oh, yeah.
drunk.
6
You
or 8
know, I
people,
mean-
yeah. What we would do is get a gallon of that juice she mentioned and dump out just a bottle's worth and then pour in your Everclear, a pint of that in a gallon jug, and just pass it around. As many people as you could fit in a car, you know, 5 or 6 people jammed in a car, you could share that bottle and catch a hell of a buzz. Especially if you look at us, we're perpetuating booze on a smoking weed. You smoke weed.
Oh,
Not
this
it
is
was one of those
hanging out,
booze
man. This is
parties
just
that
hanging
turned me
out.
on to the
Nah,
marijuana.
this is our old stuff because it was illegal. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
beer wasn't. So, well, unless you were underage, but you know what I mean? Not like, you know, so.
But yeah, that's
Would have
good
been a lot
memories,
better.
man. Some of the
Yeah.
stuff that I've thought about over the last 10 minutes while everybody was talking and telling their stories and shit
Yeah.
brings back good
yeah.
memories.
No one's going to
Oh,
know
yeah.
these people, but Dell, Jimmy, thank you so much. That first time, I'll never forget that first time.
I
Fun
didn't
stuff.
actually smoke weed until it was the summer right after I graduated high school. Someone just happened to have access to their parents or their parents' stash. So we just ran by after the graduation after party, and he grabbed some up and went on a little drive. Best drive of my life.
Huh. Awesome. When I was younger, we used to buy like when I was say 15 years old, we used to buy like dime bags, you know, and 20 sacks and shit, and we would get seeds in them. And my one friend lived in such a nice area. We had this cabin up in the woods, and like halfway up there was this little clearing, and it would get all this sunlight and shit, you know, and there wasn't a whole bunch of people around. And so that's where we very first started to try to poke around and grow. And that's whenever we had like we didn't know any better, man. The one summer we tried cutting some of our fish from the river when we was fishing. We tried throwing the fish heads and shit in the hole, but we planted there within a week. We didn't let them like mulch out or compost. We didn't know. We just thought they're in there. We can put this in there and we're good to go.
That's what I would have done.
Yeah, we didn't really know. And then, like I always tell people, my brother he's always really fond when he comes around of reminding me of, he's like, you remember that time you guys collected all that chicken shit and you fried your plants, and then you tried the pig shit and you fried your plant. So we was trying all these different things, and it wasn't working, man. And he actually saved one of the plants and grew it in a pot, and it did fairly decent for him. And he always lets me know that now, you know, that he was successful first or whatever, you know, just a way for him to get me. But that's some of my first introduction to growing, was some of our experiments then. And I always tell people, I remember like that clearing got a lot of sun, and we would, a lot of times they would get tall. We would
show them the cannon draw.
They would come down and eat the tops off, and then they would get real bushy. And we were like, check that out, man. We thought it was going to die, and it got real bushy, you know. And now we realized that they were topped, you know, naturally topped by the deer. But that was pretty cool, some of that shit. And one other thing I was telling people was, we knew a guy named Red Eye that used to grow successfully, but he wouldn't say a lot. or show us where he's growing or anything like that. But he would tell us one of his secrets was to take his plants when they got tall and bend them over and tie them down. And he told us that would let the resin flow up, but never back down the stem. While knowing plant physiology now, we know that's bullshit. But it's still the principle of tying them down was a training method, and he was probably getting some better spread and better yields and shit that way. And it probably just seemed quote unquote better to him when he did that. And I thought that was cool to hear that, remember it, and then years later learn about the auxins and bending your plants and how that does shit. And so that's just a little bit of my first growing stuff right there.
Yeah, cool,
you'll along the way growing, you will hear a lot of bad information, depending on where you get your information from. But you will end up getting some bad information out there.
There was nowhere to get it. I mean, where were you gonna, back then there was nothing, man. Unless you knew a guy. I mean, you're not gonna go to the library. Like that's all there was.
There wasn't anywhere legal at all. You're right. It would have been before whatever proposition that was in '96 that passed medical for California. I think that was the first legal.
Unless you grew tomatoes or something, maybe you had an inclination to do it.
But before then, information got passed along in concerts and stuff like that. I remember picking up a book at a Deadhead concert.
Nice.
That's actually a good thing. And I think there was. If you was like getting High Times, if you go to the local convenience store and buy the High Times, back then that was a big thing to go there and look at the magazines on the rack until they bitched at you, especially the ones that didn't have the sleeves on them, But if you could get a High Times magazine, you would see little cultivation tips or whatever. But you're right, there was never any really laid out shit, at least nothing accessible to, young high school person, and your attention span isn't what it should be to be a true serious grower, obviously. But one other thing I remembered that really blew me away was some of them we grew in 5-gallon buckets so we could move them around. We realized that moving them around would be a good thing to be able to move them. So we put them in 5-gallon buckets. And I remember that I picked a 5-gallon bucket up with a plant in it and moved it out into this clearing. And when I came back at the end of the day and I went to pick the handle up, I almost broke the plant off. It had grown like 4 inches or so in one day out in that midsummer sun. And it was wild. I found that very fascinating. To this day, I've never forgotten that. I was thinking it grew so fast in one freaking day,
It's impressive, the growth of it, it does really grow pretty quick.
Yeah, that's why I like watching people's time-lapse videos that they've got on their grows, and you can just see the amount of growth that it goes.
They headbang, man. They literally headbang. Like if you put it fast enough, then it's like boom, boom, boom. Yeah, day, night, day, night, day. That's a headbang basically, because they're flopping. They're like trying to fly away. And actually, when they're small, the little fan leaves, the little serratids they helicopter.
Oh yeah.
I have a time lapse of my green cracks, the first grow there, and they're all helicoptering. Some are spinning the wrong way, the other way,
And I want to do one of those
cool.
On one of my grows, just to follow it from popping up out of that rapid rooter, coming up and just start growing out, and then each pot up, follow it as it grows, and then all the way to flower.
Oh, right to chop, man, right to dry. I have my entire growing session, like from the day I bought my tent, from the day I dropped the clones into the water, I've been time lapsing that, all of it, nonstop. Till now.
That's pretty cool. I love seeing those time lapses, man.
I'm glad I did it.
Yeah,
I already had the security
Cool. Watch
cameras
it.
and stuff, so I just pointed a few cameras into the tents instead and started recording it, time lapsing it. And then, but that, it's a lot of videos. I started making smaller videos, like smaller size videos, like the resolution and less frames per second, right? Instead of taking a frame every 3 seconds, I can take it every 30 seconds, many things going on there. But so I'd have a file per day, and then I put all those days together at the end of the grow and make my whole grow time lapse, right?
Yeah.
Hey gang, I gotta bounce. My dogs are looking at me sideways, so it's time to take them out.
Oh. That time.
Yeah,
Right on,
Thank you
Haley.
guys
they
for
leave you a
having me
present on
tonight.
the
I
floor.
appreciate it. Appreciate all the information you guys put out and the friendship, the fellowship. That means a lot. It really, really
Yes.
Yep.
does.
Yep.
Thank you.
Cheers,
That's what
Haley.
it's all about, man. If you're gonna
We
grow,
appreciate
grow with
you,
other
man.
people, man. It's a lot funner that way.
Y'all have a good night. Peace.
You too. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Catch you
Brewer
later.
love.
Forward
Good night.
love.
Thanks, Helly Doc. We definitely appreciate his wisdom, you know.
Yeah, it's
Helly
fun to
Doc's
talk.
he got
It's a
some
great
he got
addition to CFC there. I'm glad he showed up.
Yes.
I
Okay.
wholeheartedly agree to that. I wanted to shout out a couple people here in the chat. I threw the link up in case somebody wanted to jump on. Smiley's Garden in the chat there.
Oh, Smiley's gone. Is she here?
Yeah, shout out to Smiley and
Cheers, man. I didn't even see him.
Yeah, I'm surprised
Rawsonate.
Rawsonate didn't jump in here.
Rawsonate's in there putting down some good information to people comfortably numb. I think he was asking this earlier about the 12-12. When do you consider a flip from
Oh yeah,
12-12?
the
And
timing.
Rawsonate was telling him, you know, what his
Oh.
version of that was. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's generally used by the industry.
What's that? The light side?
I don't go by that. I don't. Well, the flower time. When do you start, or when do they consider, you know, your
Oh,
flower?
that. Yeah. Yeah, it's got to be flip time, right? Because nobody knows if you flip it earlier or later, or if it shows sex and you don't flip right away, or you flip before it shows sex. I think it's based
The
on the
only
flip date.
thing that I've got a question about that is if you're one of those people who like to gradually shift your time, you know, from your 18/6 down to your 12/12, you know, in stages, you know, like take it down an hour
Oh,
a
yeah.
day or whatever until you get down to your plants, you know, or grow accustomed to that, so that it feels more like, you know,
Yeah, a little more rubbery
a little
there.
closer, a little bit more you know, in line with like nature as far as you're
Yeah.
losing the hours. So you're just speeding it up, but you're still doing the transition over.
I think that
So
The-
do you
remember
count
that-
that as soon as you drop below 14?
there's
Or
actually
when you hit 12?
there's an actual time, like down to the minute, potentially for each strain. Remember
they
that
start
paper,
to-
that show there where they're talking about like you could have just one U-mall in the field and that'll keep them from flowering. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be 100 there, just one. It's 0.004 U-moles will be enough to trigger a flower.
Yeah, that
So-
was that photoperiodism that was on
Or
Future
veg or whatever.
Cannabis Project.
Careful, but at the same time, if you're in veg, it's not going to take too much if you're out at night or in a field outside. You just have a spotlight outside over the field. If it's giving one
Yeah.
U-mall to the whole field, it's good enough. They won't
So
they won't
what's
grow,
the,
but they won't flower. You know,
What's the reflective light from the moon put out?
0.006. Go figure.
Yeah,
It
there's
didn't make
something-
sense. It didn't make sense in his thing there. It's like, well, the light, and his argument was it doesn't see that light. It's like, well, why? Is it a different spectrum? The light from the moon is the sun reflected, but
Yeah,
something's
even-
absorbed. Somebody's definitely absorbed. It's not the same light, right? I've heard that
Yeah,
argument.
I
Oh, it's
mean,
the same
I-
light. It's reflected off. It's not a mirror,
Maybe
right?
it's
It's a surface and it
something
absorbs.
about something getting absorbed through the atmosphere.
The
that's,
spectrum of the soil of the moon, right? Like that
Yeah.
color of it there is
Yeah, that
literally
gray.
absorbing photons, and whatever is being reflected is what's left. A bit like a
Right.
leaf when the light goes through it. There's some that's reflected, some that gets through, and some
right.
that's absorbed by
And,
the,
and the part that's reflected is the color that we see.
potentially, yeah, or potentially the color gets through. I don't know. Depends on what the surface is and what's reflecting and
Yeah.
what the reaction is, blah blah blah. But there's definitely an alteration of the light, so maybe that's what is different. Is the spectrum is somehow not visible to it for some reason at that range at 0.006, even though 0.004 of regular R light there with a spotlight or whatever would trigger it. or does trigger it during the day when the sun comes up,
Maybe
which is
because
the sun.
not
It's not
it's
the
not
moon.
considered a direct light. It's
Yeah,
more an
it's
indirect
reflected.
light, so
Yeah,
it's been
there's something
not only
about it,
reflected but filtered through the atmosphere.
and this is all guesses. He didn't explain
Yeah.
that because I looked at that. I'm like, is that a typo? Because 0.6 is bigger than
Right.
0.4,
Right.
right?
See,
Why
I've
doesn't it
wondered that
flower?
when they say light leaks will cause that. I'm like, well, how does it not happen, outdoors whenever you've got a full moon and it's shining bright?
Smiley saying it depends on the pigment.
I mean, they say a
Is
street
that the
light,
pigment
down
of
the street, into a block
leaf?
or whatever is enough to cause it to do it too.
I don't know. Maybe it's just cannabis for some reason. Well, no, nothing. Everything on everything on the planet sees the moon every month.
Right.
So,
Is that do they actually see it or they feel it?
well, yeah, I've heard about the tides and all that, and the magnetic polar and all that. Potentially they
Yeah.
feel all that stuff, but just the light itself,
The gravity.
it's been here forever, right? So, and
right.
I mean, I guess the only way we would know is if we would have no moon, take it away. But that would be catastrophic. Can't do that.
Well, part of the time it doesn't get a moon.
Well, blow up the moon. I just want to see some.
We'll have to pose that question because I remember that. Actually,
My
the way
best
that they
guess.
came to that conclusion was it was for poinsettias, right? And it was
Yeah.
0.4, and he said that they found it to be 10 times more.
Yeah, 0.0004. An extra
Yeah, he goes, you
zero
got to
to
move the
that.
decimal point because of it's that much more sensitive. And I was thinking, wow. So, and then I started thinking just the same way as you. I'm like, why is that not working? And it's got to be there's something here that we're missing. It's got to be spectrum or whatever. But
Yeah, because I put like what 200 UMOs probably on my plants at night.
yeah,
But it's infrared. I can't see it.
right.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you on your camera for your night vision.
It's in the 800s.
How many IRs are on that camera?
Quite a few. 12. You can see it in my picture actually. Let me see if I can pop it up.
Hey, shout out to Vermonster Grows. Comfortably Numb and Rawsonate are really going back and forth here with some cool ass shit about what they're growing and bonsais and different fruits and shit. So I just wanted to let the chat know that we are paying attention and and Smiley's Garden and everybody's appreciate it. Aldi's in there hanging out and says about 730 nanometer puts them to sleep, I believe. So it's nice to see everybody joining in and hanging out. I wanted to also mention that we're hanging out because there was a light giveaway tonight at Cocoa for Cannabis for the New Year's Grow Challenge. And some of us decided to come here afterwards and have a little after party, smoke a joint or two, and just hang out. So I'm not sure how long we'll stay. I would assume I can go until at least midnight, maybe longer. I don't know. We'll see. But there's 13 people here. And so appreciate everybody coming. Dave Martin also. Hello. Sorry. Go ahead, everybody. We're going to get rid of this person. It's a spammer.
You got it?
Can you see that in the black there on the bottom right? There's a little red there. That's the camera IR. It's because the plant's kind of flashing in front of it there, so you don't see all the little dots. But they blink every now and then. There. See? The wind's pushing the plant around. See if I can get closer to it. Whoops.
So how far away from your plants is that camera?
Oh, it's in the far corner of the tent, the opposite corner of this camera. But I'm zoomed in on it. You can kind of see it there. Do you see it? Let me put it bigger.
I don't see anything.
Let me put it bigger.
The light's out.
One of your cameras says offline.
No, it's the other one. Bottom right.
It's the one that's dark down there.
That one.
Yeah, I don't see anything. I'm sorry, bro. I don't see it.
Let's go ahead and show it to you yet. Hold on.
Dave Martin says, I have a clone in the living room. While you're looking for that real quick, I just wanted to read it.
Right there.
Let me.
On the
I
edge
have
of
a
the
clone
black.
in the-
You don't see the red there? Did you make
Let
me
me
full
look.
screen first of all, so you can actually see me?
Yeah,
Because
hold
those
on a
little
sec. I
squares,
think,
you can't see shit there, especially if you're on
I
your
ke-
phone.
yeah,
no,
I
I
can
have you a
see.
spotlight. It says
Yeah.
you're
Yeah, move it
spotlighted.
up.
You see
Okay,
the
I
little,
see.
you
I
don't
see
see the
'em.
little red
It's
dots
a
here?
ring. Okay,
Yeah,
it's a ring.
circle. It's a circle,
One-
but you're just seeing the
It's a
top of it.
single.
And the
Yeah, it's a
bottom's kind of blip.
single diode ring.
It's blipping
Yeah, I can
around
see
there
it.
because the plant's in front of it there with the wind, so you can't see the plant. But you see the
So
circles
Ah.
appear every now and then. So that's the infrared, but you can actually see it on my like smartphone camera. That has no
yeah,
IR
I
yeah,
see it.
capability.
you'll be able to pick it up because even
Yeah.
even with your naked eye, you can pick them up.
Yeah, I could see it with my so I figure, well, and it's not doing nothing. Like I've had that on since I heard
Yeah,
Doc say it was
that's one
okay.
that
I
yeah,
used to
that's what I
put
was
tape on them.
wondering.
I have all my time lapses for the first 3 grows have no light during the night because I was
Well,
afraid it
what's
would
the point
affect them.
having it on?
No, because I didn't know. I thought it would affect it, so I put tape.
No, I mean, what was the point in having it on if you can't see anything without those IRs?
Oh, well, it was there, but the tape was on it. It would turn on regardless if I was recording or not. You know what I mean? So
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah,
problem,
yeah,
so
because
they were
your light
taped.
sensor
They were
would
taped because at
kick it
night
on.
they turn on, and it's no point in recording because all you see is black, right?
Right.
But then I heard Doc say, no, it's 863 nanometer. Don't worry about it. The plant's not going to react to that. Anything over
Okay.
770 was saying, but
See,
it was really
I
760.
was always worried about that too, because I didn't want to
Yeah.
turn on any
That's
camera
fine.
in my tent or anything. So okay.
Since the green cracks, I've had it on every night nonstop, and sometimes they're pretty close or almost, keeping it warm.
What do you what program are you using to record your videos? Oh, you're just doing time lapse just of pictures, huh?
No, I used to use a Video Velocity, but that was shareware, and now I use iSpy. iSpy is the best one because it's free and it's easy to set up the time lapse.
Okay.
Set it up for how long you want. I put it in files per day there, so it's easier to sort.
Okay.
But they're useful, man. Like I love seeing what happened. Like especially when I started, I didn't know what I was doing. So when I do something, I'd go look at the time lapse from the day before and see what happened. See,
I
did
thought about
the
just,
delays go up or did they go down? Did it droop or?
Just
Because
get a used NVR system or something and set that up.
Yeah, but then what are you gonna do with all the files? I wanted to keep that. I
Put
didn't
it
time
on
lapse to fix
on
it.
the
I
NOS.
that was just a bonus, Like it's hey, I
Put it-
can notice progression, or
I'll just have it saved to my my hard drive, my network attached storage on my network.
what is that NVR thing you talking about?
It's basically just a hard drive that's connected up to your router through USB, and you can basically just store, whatever you want on it, and you can access it anywhere on the network.
Yeah, but this is an application. I guess it could work through the network there.
Well, the NVR
But
would do all
it works
the
so
processing
slow.
for you, and then it would just store the files there over on the network storage
No.
instead of on the onboard hard drive.
I didn't need to do that because I don't use the system itself, like the security system and all that. I use my computer.
Right.
And the files are so small because it's just one frame. So I do 30 frames per second, but it's one frame per 30 seconds.
And just saving the your video input, that's going through your computer.
Well, it saves a file every day. It's an MPEG.
Yeah.
And it's
Hey,
not
shout
very
out
big.
Your program does that on your computer.
Yeah, it's a
Smiley's
matter of
Garden.
how many frames.
What's going on, man?
Okay, how many frames per second? Right, obviously. If you got
Right.
1080p there, they're going to be huge. I had
Yeah.
2 megabyte daily files. I didn't want them too big, so. Because it gets
Smiley just entered the room, fellas. I wanted to tell him hello and give him a chance to say hi.
How you guys doing, man? Can you hear me all right?
Cheers, man.
Yeah, we're good,
Yep.
dude.
Cheers, guys.
Loud and clear.
Thanks for coming on, man, and hanging out. I'm rolling up a joint right now.
Okay, me too, man.
I'm
Sweet.
packing another Canagar.
Oh shit.
Are those
You'll
a
be
big pain in
smoking
the
that.
ass or what? The Canagars?
Say what?
Are they a big pain in the ass to do, the Canagars?
Well, the biggest pain in the ass is just sitting here, loading it up.
Yeah, that's what
I
I
mean,
mean.
The stuffing and all that packing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Need a
I
good
mean,
funnel.
mine's a 5 gram, so you got to grind up 5 grams worth of weed first. And unless you've got a big grinder, then it's going to take you a little bit to do that. And then just stuffing it in there, a little bit at a time. That kind of gets a little time consuming, but like right
Oh.
now, I'm doing it while I'm talking to you guys, so it's not really that bad. It's just
What about a coffee grinder?
tedious.
Is that too harsh on it?
Or do you
Coffee
just
grinder?
Yeah.
Well, it would work
Coffee
pretty
bean,
good. I
yeah.
mean, the finer you can get the grind, the better.
Damn. Because I remember a girl, she'd come over there and she'd always bring her little coffee grinder with her there. And burp, burp,
Yeah.
It was fast.
I know people who do
Yeah.
that, little portable, like the ones you can get for like when you're camping,
Yeah.
little handheld ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who use those.
It's like, man, okay. Yeah.
It's tough to put a nice bud in one of those, man. I'm like a scissor dude, and I have one of those grinders. It's like it's a tobacco grinder, but it
Oh,
just
you're a
feels.
scissor
I'd have
dude?
to grind, or not grind, but scrape it out
scissors
every
dude,
time.
man.
You know what I mean?
I
I
used to
want it
be
all.
whenever I first started smoking. I had to use scissors or use my fingernails just to tear it apart until I got it
Yep.
down fine enough. But that was back whenever there was seasoned bud too.
Oh yeah.
Now
You
no,
don't want
there's no
it.
seasoned bud. I'm gonna throw that thing in a grinder. Go to town on it.
No, because you don't want to smoke the seed, man. So the trick is to not break it, right? You want to
Right.
find it
Yeah.
whole, get it the
Right.
hell out, because man, it's like smoking wood.
Especially the
Not
little
only
white
that,
proto
the
seeds. Yeah.
less you mess with it, the less sticky your fingers got.
Yeah, which means it's still in the joint. You get to enjoy it, right? Smoky.
Hey, Smiley, you're growing that what was it, rascal berries? Is that right?
yeah.
And who was it that bred that? I heard you talking about it earlier, and I heard somebody saying that it was like one of the most fire ass strains they ever heard. And then my ears perked up, and I was like, "Damn, I missed a little bit there," and I didn't want to interrupt.
It's yeah, dude, it's probably one of the loudest ones in my library, I guess. And it's like it's got a real I guess if you see the terp profile, it shows a lot of limonene, so it's got that pretty dominant, but in the actual flavor it comes through in like almost like a sour berry, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's tight, man. It's one that you can crack. I can crack a jar of it and it'll fucking turn heads sitting at a side. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Like, ooh, what's that? What you got?
yeah, it's
Conversation stopper, eh? Just hold on a second. Where
yeah,
is
it's
that?
so loud, man. It's just such a loud smell and flavor.
I love those strains.
So where can somebody find that? Like, is that something that you can? Is it very prestigious? Did you buy a cut somewhere? Like, how does that work?
I popped it from a seed and it was from Sin City Genetic, but I don't know if it's a retired one or how because I've had it. I mean, shit, I've had it I know for a fact I've had it 5 years, but I'm thinking it's almost 7 now. So,
Hey,
but yeah,
no
It's got a
problems popping it?
reputation.
what's that?
No problems popping it?
The seed?
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
not.
It grew out
Wait.
good.
I mean, I cracked them right away when I got them, but I've had the cut, so I've just
Oh,
cloning the
Oh,
cut.
you're cloning it.
yeah. You kept her alive there. Yeah.
Yeah, there you
And
go. Yeah,
ironic-
that's what I do with my Slurricane. It was just one that I found that was really good, so
Mhm.
I've been keeping that around for about 2 years now.
See,
I
ironically
think-
enough, a buddy of mine locally, so Sin City, if anybody follows them, they've been around for a while, right? So they have like
I've heard of them.
they have a box set that you could get. They listed only a few of them and they gave a few away, but it was like 100 other packs of seeds. It was like their full
Oh.
library, full
Wow.
lineup
Right
of all the
on,
shit.
man.
And he won one of those fucking boxes, dude. So I was like, I'm gonna buy the raspberries for me just to have a backup on it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That is
That's a
nice.
gold mine.
Yeah, dude, that's a dope prize. It was like 10 grand or 12 grand. So
Yeah.
buy.
Wow.
Hey. Was it for like
Yeah.
a huge, like a really huge giveaway or something that you had to like buy something to enter into or subscribe to or to enter into, or just anybody
No,
could enter?
I don't think so. I forget how they did it. It was a pretty big one. I mean, I know they promoted it for a while because they gave away like 3 or 4 of them. So
Oh, dang.
yeah,
Dang, man.
yeah, dude.
Those some nice
City
prizes.
was cool as fuck with it, man. They're a cool company, and everything I've popped, to be honest, has been super dank fire, dude. It's fucking. The only problem, I guess, there's a few of them that I've run from them because I'd say probably I've cracked more of their stuff than anybody else's, really. But a few of them were like lower yielders. There was one called Platinum Delights that was like super amazing, but it was like little marble buds, you know what I mean? So it was killer smoke, super frosty, tight nug, but it was just like little marbles all the way up the stem. And yeah, I couldn't
Wow.
get. You
That's
know what I
still
mean?
one that you want to cram one in the corner every grow, huh? That way you can at least get one in there for your own head stash, right?
Yeah, maybe. I've had a few of them kind of come out like that, and it's just, I don't know. For what I'm doing, it's not. I gotta have some kind of something to show for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. You got a much different, your garden's huge, man, and it's always looked so good. And yeah, that's pretty cool, man. And I would just wanted to say here, because I think you've heard me say this before, Smiley, and I also wanted to mention me and Crispy look up to you, man, in your gardens and the knowledge you bring and drop over there, like on Eagle Show and on your YouTube and shit. We appreciate that, man. And we kind of look at you guys are some of the people, I think I mentioned this, that paved the way for us to kind of want to try and share what we know, try to learn more and shit, and help us meander our way through this. But yeah,
I don't look up to you. I'll just steal your ideas.
well,
Sorry, dude, I don't care. I look up to you, Spot. I mean, honestly, dude, I'm just like you guys doing my thing and figuring it out. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah, doing what you love, man.
Yeah, I'm just whatever. I just share it. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of share the journey or whatever.
one thing that I always bitch about is that we don't get to try a lot here, like your rascal berries. Like a lot of these strains, they're all exotic to us. So it's like, damn, I want to try all this shit. And like now you're mentioning Sin Gardens or what was it, Sin City Genetics, or is that right?
Yep, Sin City.
Sin City, and I'm sitting here thinking, man, I maybe go put an order in or start looking at their website, and I'm thinking, when can I fit that in? So that's how
Honestly,
my
man, you
brain
wouldn't go wrong doing that because everything, even stuff buddies have popped and all that. It's a lot. They do their work. So.
Well, after watching your garden for so long, that's why I said that carries weight with me, and I would definitely be willing to check some of their stuff out and put it and definitely find a place here in the garden. But for sure, man, that's cool. Rascal berries and shit like you said, that might be a discontinued one or whatever. But yep, I'm definitely gonna check that out.
So many good stuff to grow out there, man. It's like, man,
There is.
Yeah.
It is,
Never
man.
And
But
it seems like
go ahead.
I know. I was just gonna say I like to spend my money with somebody who seems like they're really reaching out to the community or just like generally cool, legit, righteous people. And it sounds like what you're saying is that those people are. So I'm all about that. There's other people that are selling seeds that are really big that I don't care to buy from,
Yeah.
and just for one reason or another. And so that company there sounds like someone that I'd want to do business with.
Yeah, for sure. I want the land races there. I want the old stuff.
Why is
Yeah.
that, Crack Babies? Or Puffy D? Why do you say that in the land races?
Like the
It's,
Thai stuff, the Thai stick, the Cambodian red there that
A lot of
Buddy
it
was
has to
talking
do with
about on
the taste and
FCPO2.
smell.
But me, it's the sativas, like the Jamaican lamb's breath. That I know was potent stuff because I got the gumball from that, and that was made from that. They rubbed it basically.
Well, a lot of that older landrace stuff isn't near as potent as the stuff that they've got today.
Oh, it
But
is.
for me,
That's
it's
a
the,
myth, Puffy. That's a myth. Ask Tommy Chong if the Thai that he tried in the 70s was any shittier than the we smoke now. It's not. He said no, man. It's just because what we
Really?
got was garbage. Oh yeah, we got
See, I've
South
always
Asian
heard the
cure.
opposite too.
We had the South Asian cure. What you got was garbage. But if you got it from Thailand and you went to Thailand, you knew the people that were growing it
Oh
there.
yeah.
Trust me,
Yeah.
that was top-notch shit. Just like the charas and the hash and all that. That was all top-notch shit. Like, it's just that
It had to be. They were
we were getting the shit out of it.
for generations. You know what I'm saying? Like they were
Yeah.
whittling down those cultivars for years and years. Like
Absolutely.
they had to be fire as fuck. That's what they were picking for. Why do we always think we're better at picking than the old people were back in the day?
There's fire back and those genetics, man, and it's like
'Cause
stable
we
as
know
hell.
more,
there.
man. We know more.
Right? We're still trying to get the ones that were the
Can't tell us
you
nothing.
know, the best shit too.
Panama red, black Congolese
Yeah,
red,
Panama
black.
red,
I tried a strain that was a
Acapulco
mix.
Gold.
They called it red Congolese, but it was actually Panama red crossed with Congolese black, which are both sativa land races. And it's like, man, that was so good. It was the only one that I liked more than my green crack.
See, we never ever got any kind of names really. I don't remember ever getting names.
No, this is recently there.
Oh,
Recently.
I was gonna say like back in the day, it was just we would beep the weed man and he would tell us to come through and we would just get whatever they had that week, and then if it was good,
Yeah,
we'd go
you didn't
buy
care
more.
about a name.
We
If
did,
you were
yeah.
given a name, then
It's
you knew
what
it
he
was
called
something
it,
special.
but how did
So,
how-
Yeah, it's hard to figure out like what I might want to try that some of them older times.
Right.
But I agree though, some of that older stuff like people always talk about the old skunks. Now I know this has been a big thing with the genetics, people talking about who has the real skunk and who doesn't, and I don't have any idea who
it's
is
all
right
it
or wrong.
was. That's all it was.
Yeah, I don't know.
There was nothing
was
else but that. It was just a skunk. It was like, whoa. And sometimes there was some purple weed. And to be honest, when the purple came around, nah, no thanks. It was
Really?
it was no
You
good.
didn't like
The
the
purple,
purples?
and it was a lighter purple though. It wasn't
Oh,
dark like you
okay,
see it now.
Okay.
It was more like violet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's
yeah.
like, nah, man, like it was cool there, but it wasn't, the buzz was nothing special. The taste was nothing special. But that skunk, man, like that's a hallucinogen high there. Like that was the best weed I ever smoked.
I just read
BC
an
Hydro.
article about some dude called Skunk Man Sam, and I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was maybe, I don't want to misquote him, Sun Grown Mids, and I really respect that guy and the stuff that he brings. I don't know if he's like for or against what some people here might believe or whatever, but it's really cool when they was bringing that up about following that skunk lines all the way back and how the real skunk is different from this other shit. And I honestly don't know. I couldn't tell you if one from the other, but
It's not a strain. It's
wild. It's
it's
wild to
more than
watch
just a strain.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to watch that. And I would like to try that old shit is what I was getting at. Like Smiley said, some of that shit back in the day, like early 90s, mid 90s, you'd get something and don't know the name of it, but you'd open the bag up, man. And the whole room would just, you couldn't
Yeah.
hide it. Just
Out
have
there.
it.
Yeah.
That's the shit I always look for. And I want to believe that, whether it goes for or against whatever, I want to believe that was soil grown buds back then. But I also remember
It wasn't.
Hydro as being,
It was
You don't
BC
think?
Hydro. It was BC Hydro. There
so I
was no
gonna say,
good weed.
Hydro was always a flex, man.
It was
People
outdoor,
talking
man.
about Hydro.
Outdoor
Yeah.
was garbage. You know what I mean? Unless you
Okay.
we smoked hash. So when we had weed, it was outdoor or it was Mexican brick weed, like imported weed, which was rare, but still not as good as the hash, right?
Oh,
But
you got the
then the
Mexican brick
BC
weed all
Hydro
the way
came
up there?
around. That was better than the hash. And that was the stinky, smelly, like skunky, like, wow, this is, and super sticky there. Like it was really nice weed. Like, wow, and it was all a little different, but all very loud. You know what I mean? That's why I'm saying it's not a skunk. It's not a skunk. Several strains, and they were all skunky like that. You know what I mean? Just different tastes and different flavors, but all loud and like really loud. That's what I don't see that anymore. So
Right.
I don't know
Anyhow,
what happened. Maybe
It's
it was a
more your
heat score.
more your boutique flavors and
Yep.
smells and stuff. It's not really.
I think
mean,
it was a heat score,
really
man. You
that-
could
that
you get
natural.
burned, Maybe they were all confiscated from raids. You know, they just got wiped out through police enforcement, and what was left was the stuff that didn't smell so bad. They never caught them. You know what I mean?
Well,
I
that's
don't
Well, I
what the
know.
know
story
that at
goes.
some point that they were breeding them to take out some of that scent, to calm them
Exactly.
down to where,
Yeah.
people could
Yeah.
carry it around and not get caught.
So it
People
was
were getting
Yeah.
caught
stupid
with it in their
loud there.
pockets all the time. Yeah.
Like cat piss, like not cat piss, but male spray. That's like, a skunk and that they're damn close. They're like, you know what I mean? I'd put a candle to them. Like they both hold up. You know what I mean? And it was close to
Right.
that. Like I swear to God, that would make your eyes water. It was so strong. It's like, wow. Okay. A friend of mine, I think it was Helly there was talking about finding some plants when he was young there. Well, that's what my buddy did there. He just found a plant in a field and he brought it home, put it in his basement, and he told us about it. He's like, "Yeah, man, come see it." And when we got to his place, I swear to God, his basement, he was in a basement bedroom and we smelled it from outside the house. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
as we were entering the rooms there, getting closer to his room, it's like, whoa. And by the time we got to his door there, it's like, holy shit, bro. Did you kill a skunk
Yeah.
in there? Like, what the
Turn it
hell?
down. Turn it
It was
down.
loud. So that, yeah, I'll never forget that. That was, so it was a fresh green plant. So obviously it's gonna be a lot louder than harvested dried plant, but still, it was back and out. So I was worried, to start growing just for that. It's like I don't want that smell. It's way too strong.
Right.
Can't do that. Like there's no way. So I just I never considered it.
That's what I was wondering. Like even like you mentioned the land race, but it seems like anytime I've seen them growing out, they just seem so crazy and unruly. Like, and like in the bud structure, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but there's a certain style that like some of those like airier buds just kind of fall apart when you go to trim them and stuff. And it's
No,
like,
you're right. You're right. You got to reproduce the
they're cool
conditions.
for like cash or something, you know what I mean? But they wouldn't necessarily be like a sellable flower to present. I don't know, but
No, exactly. It's for your own, enjoyment because it's really about the high, the sativas, and they're rare. They're a rarity these days, I think, because they just, it's a 16 to
Yeah.
18 week flower there.
that's the other thing.
Those are the real sativas, and so nobody wants to do that. It's
Yeah.
not
Nobody
cost
wants to grow
effective.
those anymore, so you
Yeah.
don't ever see them.
But
Well,
I would, you know.
no, no doubt. I mean, there's definitely some potency there, and I do think they. I don't have a ton of experience. I grew out a trying to think of the one. It was Moonshine Haze from Rare Dankness. Sorry, that was just
Oh, yeah.
drawing a blank there, but that was 100% sativa. But that's the same thing. I was like 16 weeks deep in it, and she's like still going. You know what I mean? Like, but it was a huge ass plant, and it definitely threw out some yield, but it was good smoke. But it wasn't worth continuing.
Wasn't special. Yeah.
Right. It wasn't nothing that anybody was raving about to where they were like, oh, you have to do this again. You know what I mean?
I
And
think
when
it has to
dropped
be harvested from there, wherever it is, because that's the optimal terroir or whatever there. It'll be good there if it's growing there because it's outside and it's probably going to be a tree. You know what I mean? Like compared to what we grow
right.
in
And
our little tents.
I think some planting and different stuff, you could probably do it really well indoor too. I'm just saying, like
Hey, Tal's here.
you
I
know,
didn't even
All
see
right,
him in
cheers.
chat.
yeah, American one.
Yeah, cheers to Tal. Sorry there.
Cheers to the American one. Yes.
And thanks to you, Smiley, for putting the hammer on those Russian dudes trying to cram in the chat there.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah, and I can imagine a 16-week flower there. That thing's going to be tall. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like you
yeah.
better have tall ceilings there. You have the extension on the gorilla tent or something, or do a lot of super cropping. I don't know.
Yeah, if you live on the equator, you get 12 hours of light all year round. Is that right? It's 12 all year round.
Yeah.
Like Ecuador is equator, right? Doesn't it stand for that?
Yeah.
So
Like Colombia there, that's 12 all
Yeah.
the time. Yeah. It's always
All right.
12. Also for them to flower, that's where that light came in there. Where they put a spotlight in the
Firing
field.
this up.
And that was enough to keep them from flowering. They weren't growing, they weren't getting all the humols they need, but they were not flowering, you know what I mean? So they could veg them out in 12-12, even though it's not necessarily 12-12. It's 18-6, but with help. But you're not spreading photon techs across 70 acres or, you know? it's,
Yeah.
it's just a spotlight, you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
easy to do. I was surprised by that.
Yeah, and I seen that study. They had just regular 500 watt halogen work lamps, dual lamps, every one in every row or some shit, and it was amazing to me too that it would keep them, it would hold them like that.
And they got par meters, I'm sure. So it's just a matter of, okay, we're at
Just
one par. Let's put the next light, for the next,
spacing as
30,
far
40
as you can.
feet, whatever. Yeah. God
But,
knows how many watts.
That's pretty wild stuff, man, for sure, to see them to put that into action and test it out.
It's a good solution, to grow in those perfect conditions. Because I mean, that's the only flaw is there's no 18, right? How do you do veg? That's how. It's not productive. Like you're not going to get super growth. There's no growth during that missing 6 hours, but it's
Well,
not
that's what I don't.
flowering, right?
That's what he's comfortably numb saying. Those strains are like autos, I guess. They just decide to flower whenever. So yeah, I mean, it would be 12-12 from seed.
No. These guys are growing our strains here. Miracle, Alien Cookies, and Master Kush, and all the regular strains.
Start flowering until they hit maturity. So
no, they'll flower. They'll flower in week 2.
I mean, some people, that's how you grow a sea of green. You just flip them quick,
Yeah, OCG does 3 weeks, man. 3 weeks.
Sea of green, you're using clones.
Same
True.
thing.
You're still gonna flip it.
Yeah, it's true, eh? Does he use clones for his SOG?
I don't know.
You can do it. I've flipped from seed at
That's the most
weeks.
productive way to do it is with clones, because all your plants are going to be the exact same size.
Yeah, I guess
that way you don't have any high spots and low spots.
I don't know if he started seeds.
You just gotta,
it might be seeds, He didn't top them. He just, grew them real short and stout. Christmas tree,
Yeah, you don't typically top them, and then you'll cut the branching off almost.
Yeah.
So you get the literal lollipop effect where it's like big ass nog on top of the stick.
Pretty sure that's what he did.
Those are beautiful.
His journals are on CFC, so we can go confirm it.
Dude, there's a really.
I love the way those grows turn out.
He's going single cola and cutting off all your side branches.
Yeah. And they're side by side, super tight there.
Oh yeah, I guess you could do that. Yeah.
There's a really.
But it's beautiful, man.
If you guys.
Yeah, you could do it that way. Yeah.
There's an old
you
video.
Probably pack more plants in that way too.
Oh yeah. It's got like 15 or something in there. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, it was called 15 pounds in 50 weeks or something like that. But it was there's an old video of a guy that has it was basically an advertisement for an aeroponics kind of thing. Nice. So they like mist the roots with the nutrient solution, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
That was the best one. I wanted to do that. The only flaw is the mister's gonna gum up there.
Yeah, dude, but in a 6x9 room, he fucking blows it out. They did 300 cuts. They did like 300 cuts on a table. So it's kind of like a I don't know. I'm trying to think of the technique, but it's almost like the cloner bins where they got the little pucks and then the roots hang down underneath. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it sprays the roots underneath there. But it was pretty amazing how they fucking grew in that setup, man. He kept showing the roots and kept showing the fucking buds week to week. But
it's optimal because there's never going to be root rot, really. There's not enough water for the rot to build up in, and the nutrients are always fresh, right?
He had to prune the roots back. I remember that.
Yeah.
Because they were getting to where they were like,
Oh, I've seen the ones with the Rockwell cubes there where they cover the whole tray, the whole pan that they're in, and the roots come out of the Rockwell and grow into the pan under that liner there, like a black plastic liner.
Oh yeah,
The
that's
whole pan, the whole bottom of the floor of the tent is roots. It's like, holy
That's
shit.
sick, isn't
Yeah.
it? Dude?
Yeah,
doing
that's
the
insane.
nutrient film technique NFT.
No. They're literally doing like top feed there, high frequency fertigation.
Oh, top
But
feeding? Oh, okay.
the whole pan is roots, not just a cube. You know what I mean?
I
Like
tell you,
like
man,
like a
Oh,
pot, like I
okay.
got
Yeah,
like a
yeah, yeah.
cocoa pot would air prune the roots, but this thing wasn't air
Right.
pruning there. It kept growing outside the pot, outside the cube.
Right,
So
right,
and they
right.
were
I
all in.
gotcha.
There was a bunch of them in the same pan, right? So that became one big massive root mat there. You lifted it up, there was like I don't know, 6 to 8 inches thick there. It's like, holy shit.
it's pretty
Cool.
crazy what the roots can do, man. I know, like, I'm in soil, so I had the blue mott, and originally I had like a dripper. So they have these like little dial drippers that you can put on the top of the soil, you know, so you
Yeah,
can, you know, dial in the flow rate basically. But the fucking roots would eat those things, dude. They'd come in like a matter of a day too. They would literally wrap around the dripper and pull it down into the soil.
Cool. Literally swallowing
wild.
it.
I got some
Starving,
pictures.
man.
That's
Yeah, I
awesome.
got some
Feed me.
pictures of it.
Guess you had to
And-
increase the flow a bit, eh?
Well, and I could train the roots to actually come up out of the soil if I had the dripper. So like if I moved that, say, an inch or two above the soil and it was dripping down in that one spot, the roots would literally form like a thumb, dude, and they would fucking
They would climb up to
Reach
it.
out.
yeah,
to
they
it.
would it would be
That's
like a little
trippy, man.
fucking ant mound of roots, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
White like a mound of them there. But
Yeah,
yeah,
you really
they
want that
definitely-
water.
They definitely are still active though in flower. Like a lot of people will say, "Oh, the roots stopped doing their thing in flower." Bullshit, man.
No, they don't.
They're-
No,
they
they're
keep
still
growing.
pulling stuff
Oh,
up.
yeah.
They have to move stuff around. So
No, they're
Yeah,
always
they're
They're
growing.
still
I noticed
actively
that.
growing
Yeah.
if they need to too. You know what I mean? Like I've noticed that in the soils, they'll still actively seek out spots in the soil and they'll grow and like it's not
Hey,
a matter
Smiley.
of
More at the end, I think. You know, at the very end,
I
it
think-
starts to slow down.
yeah, at
I
the
think
very,
one-
very end.
when they stop
One
drinking.
thing
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
one
hold on,
thing that
hold
we
on.
were taught whenever we were learning about the roots was that when you're growing in soil, your roots kind of have to mine for nutrients. So they have to spread out. And then when they mine an area dry, they kind of die off there and they kind of shoot some more out. And I guess when you're growing hydroponically, that's why you get more above ground growth. Your plant can grow roots and them roots can kind of like stay alive and stay where they're at the whole time because they're constantly being fed a nutrient solution. They don't have to kind of quote unquote go mining for their nutrients or like regrow new ones. And I mean, you can take that for what it's worth, but in my head, that's how I pictured it, and the way like Dr. Coco kind of taught me and the perspective that I had of it. Not that one's wrong, right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm sure it's the same in all of them. I'm sure it continues to grow in all of them, but I'm thinking maybe it's just a different rate under different substrates or something. So, but yeah, that's just, I wanted to chime in with my little thought there.
Yeah, I'm not sure, man. I mean, there's definitely something to be said about the power of like DWC systems and the speed of growth and shit. So it's hard to argue that kind of stuff, even watching
Right, like maybe
hydroponic stuff. But I don't necessarily get
some
the
of the-
luxury of actually seeing my roots, and I do know, man. Like I get
Right.
thick ass fucking root balls through a whole number 10 pot. So
Yeah, not until you dissect the pod after you've already chopped and take a look to see
Yep.
what they look like and see if they had any problems or see had any trouble spots.
I can see the
You do
problem.
see
That's what I
that,
like
too.
about it. Yeah, you can
Yeah,
literally see it
that's the
just by the
advantage of
color and the
DWC.
texture. It's like, oh, they're getting slimy there. It's like, oh no,
Well,
Yeah.
for thought for anybody listening, like I've found dry pockets and there's different spots too, and like even where there was like puddling or a wet spot in certain pots too after you start digging through there. So it's kind of eye opening
yeah.
too,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And you go like, holy shit, half this pot wasn't even getting fucking water, like
yeah.
Right. Yeah, came hydrophobic and
Yep.
wouldn't even take it on water in that spot.
That's the beauty of DWC. As long as the roots aren't touching the floor and there's enough water, it's going to be everywhere all the time, pretty uniform, right? There's no chance for that to happen unless some rot sets in or something, or
yeah.
But if you got enough air and there's, the water's at level, there's no real Nothing can
Well,
go wrong there for
I will
nutrients.
say though, like the people that are really, there's some guys like that follow the soil food web, and there is some different thought to the whole like soil food web than there is just like organic or even, I mean, sometimes even like quote unquote regenerative or whatever. But the idea that you're maintaining a huge, diverse biology in the soil is actually really a lot more critical and a finer balance than what a lot of people even take into account. You know what I'm saying? So like,
It's
it's
super
not.
important, man. Like all agriculture should be live soil. They're killing the planet, man. Like it's good for us on indoors, but I mean for outside, it should all be remediation, live
Yeah.
soil, and that's nature, man.
Yep.
We're killing the topsoil that took
Regenerative.
millions of years to make there.
Well, it's
It's
like
Yeah.
everybody who uses peat-based soil.
yeah, it's not, it's not soil. It's not the real deal there.
Well, it
That's
can be. I mean, it just depends on what's going on in there. Because like peat's gonna basically be organic matter breaking down, and I believe at the end
Yeah.
result, after it's really kind of worked, it's more of like a silt is what the role it'll play in a lot of
Oh,
that.
yeah.
So what
It's
you'll
got a-
wind up with running multiple runs on a heavy peat base, and what I've seen is like it almost gets to be like a fucking mud almost. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
like.
Well, not only that, it's just the amount of time for it takes to,
The organic
for peat
comes out
to
of it,
form.
right? The organic part of it gets kind of eaten away, and what's left is the silt and dirt, and
Yeah.
back to
Yeah.
the elements that it came from, I guess.
Yeah, I always kind of picture it like Legos. They're like little tiny Legos. So like amino acids are, a couple Legos put together. That's like a nitrogen and a carbohydrate, which is actually
Yeah,
like one Lego with a big,
the building
chain of
blocks.
Legos,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know what I'm
I like
saying?
that.
But then those all get put together to make a protein, and in the order that they're put in, and then that defines the shape of the protein and the shape of the protein will define the function that it can serve. So like you know what I mean? So proteins are the basis of life. So like everything. So like your DNA is getting read and transcribed by certain proteins, and the cell wall is certain other proteins, and you know what I mean? So there's all like microtubules or other different proteins. It's all little Legos put together is how I see it in my head,
It's trippy
That's
as
a
all,
good,
man.
that's a good visual. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice for someone like me. It's good to have an analogy with a picture like that. And I'm
There are
sure a lot of
millions of
people.
little Legos, eh? Like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
Now, if you take that in reverse, though, and you think of decomposition, it's basically taking those Legos apart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Except the Legos are going to be filled with water, so a little bit of that. There's different, differences, but it's kind of in my mind, it's similar to that because then, like, you get down to organic acids like fulvic acid or humic acid, and we hear all these terms, and it's kind of like, well, what are they? And then I've listened to like Dr. Faust talk, and he always talks about them as organic fractions. He's like, they're fractions of organic compounds. And it kind of rang a light bulb in my head to be like, oh, these were functional organic compounds in whatever, living thing it was in. And it's getting broken down to a point where these are just like parts and pieces of a car, kind of, you know what I'm saying? Almost like, at
Like a
one point it
middleman kind of
functioned, but
thing?
now it's all into millions of pieces instead of the one functional thing.
Like soap, how it's the bond between oil and water. They're the bond between the organic and the non-organic.
Well, they'd be molecular bonds. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So like living things and
acids.
cells are putting together these compounds in ways. So like even saying carbohydrate or there's so many carbons and so many hydrogens in that, but there's a bunch of different ways that those hydrogens and carbons can be put together, you know what I mean? And still be the same, still be called the same thing because there's 10 carbons or whatever, you know what I mean? But it could be a trillion different ways that's put together, which in theory could actually function to carry information. So
A bit like CBGA, man. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're up. Go ahead. I think
I was
that's
gonna
pretty
say
wild
like,
stuff.
like CBGA there. You know, CBGA evolves into the THC or the CBD, and it's really just that the way it's formed there. It's got a really high tendency to bend over itself and create these new molecules there at that level. It's kind of the same deal there. There's
Well, it's a great example. Like for terpenes, for example, like monoterpenes are a common one we hear about, or sesquiterpenes. Like monoterpenes are 10 carbons and sesquiterpenes are 15. But there's different ways that molecule can be assembled, you know? So
that defines its smell, and that's so wild. It's almost like the frequencies there. You know, when you put sand
is
over a
cool.
speaker and you change the
Yep.
tone, like a solid tone there, it'll make all these
Yeah,
weird
make it.
geometric forms there.
Yeah.
That's wild, man.
Make all these different shapes. Yeah.
Nature, man. Nature is wild.
Hey, welcome back, Heli Doc. I'm sorry I got caught up there for a minute. I know Smiley wasn't here when you left, so yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for coming back.
No worries, man. I was just sitting here enjoying listening to you guys talk about all this. I mean, it's great
Yeah,
science.
this is good. Good
Proteins,
stuff, man.
amino acids. I mean, hey, what the hell?
Yeah, man. I love
And
to
your
learn
pups
this
are
stuff.
happy.
They
You got to
are.
go
They
for a
were.
walk.
They were looking at me sideways there for a bit, so I had to take them for a little bit extra long walk there. You know, make up for it.
Good deal.
Good pups.
I mean, it's something to kind of consider too, like the biology in the soil or in the media is actually doing the same thing that the plant's trying to do in theory, because like those cells and those microbes are kind of composed of all the same shit. They need calcium for cell walls. They need, you know what I mean, iron. They need fucking nitrogen, magnesium, just like we do. You know what I mean? So
Right.
An exchange, between them. Like it's a symbiosis, really. And I think in a way, because DWC, I almost feel like we make it too easy for the plant. There's a struggle in Earth, right? In Earth, the roots gotta find its way. It's gotta build those bonds. It's gotta, there's a struggle. I see it as a struggle, and that struggle potentially makes it better.
And that's where people come in that grow in soil and say, there's a difference, man. My stuff tastes better.
I would believe it in that sense,
Well, I've often
Yeah,
said
'cause
I think the best weed that I've ever smoked was grown in soil, for whatever that's worth. I think that to be
that
true.
struggle can bring out different phenomes out of the out of
It's
that
like a
plant,
stress,
too.
right? Like environmental
Yeah.
stresses.
Yeah.
There's nutritional stresses, or root stress, or I don't know what you
so
call that.
think
But
of this, guys. There's like whenever, I don't know, it was a worm that they did this talk on, but like when at conception it's one cell, and then it starts splitting. So if you picture one cell divide into two, and then two into four, and then four, you know what I'm saying, into 16 and so on.
Yeah.
But at some point, like all of those cells have the same code of DNA in them, right? But at some point there's a different decision being made to express that DNA in a different way to create a different type of cell, whether it's going to be a
Right,
muscle or a bone or whatever. So I think in a lot of same ways, like stressors and environment, like you were saying, Puffy, can be a signal to actually turn on a certain portion of reading the encoding of a DNA to do
there's
certain
a
task.
plethora of options, and the environment will say, okay, it's time for this one. We need
Yeah,
this
and it
option now.
triggers it.
Basically,
Yeah.
it starts out with a playbook, and whatever the environment that it in dictates which plays it's running through its life cycle.
We had ATG Acres, Aaron the grower, on here one day, and he on a show and was talking about soil growing, and he mentioned something that kind of rang that true to me, and I hope I don't kind of misquote him or whatever, but it was something like when you grow in soil, you'll get like there's like, I don't know if he called them micro terpenes or micro cannabinoids or something, but he said they come in at such low levels because you grew in soil or whatever, that they don't really test for those, and they don't really know how that acts as an entourage effect, even at such low levels. And he feels that you may not get those low levels if you're growing in DWC or maybe even cocoa with sterility or whatever. So he thinks there's a symbiosis there between all of that. And, I thought that sounds like it could ring true. So I think what are they? Matthew Gates is good at calling it something. I don't know if it's shit. I'm drawing a blank. I guess it's getting late. Empirical evidence is, or man, that's not what I'm talking about. It's the other shit. Like somebody who's viewed it over and over and over again, just kind of knows that there's a difference between growing in soil and hydro. And I can't always say that one would seem better than the other, but I never want to say that one's inferior than the other, I should say, but I think there could be definitely a difference if that sounds fair.
There's every way that you have to grow, you have your compromise somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, like
But
you
I
said
think
before, there's a lot of ways to skin a cat. So,
I don't
you know,
know.
And we've
it's
always
just,
said that.
I mean, your grow's going to match your lifestyle.
Yep. And we've always said that even though we don't particularly use soil indoors right now, we would like to go outdoors someday. And Smiley's probably heard me say this on Eagles show, and is that we try to soak up as much of this. Like I like that Lego block. That gives me something to picture in my head. I can try to build off of that. Pun intended. I'm going to try to build off of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good.
But yeah, seriously though, shit like that, because then when we get outdoors, I'll have a better understanding, and I can jump right in head first and be like, hopefully is in all, whatever. That's the same drum I beat before. But yeah, man, that's cool shit. And I just wanted to mention that thing about Aaron because we don't know. And like Puffy just said, it's different shit,
It's like Frenchie said about the hash there, about not the hash, but the terpenes of the plant. The labs and the companies that are trying to recreate the terpene profile of, let's say, Master Kush, they'll never pull it off because there's terpenes that are unquantifiable. They can't measure how much is in there.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I think I still like the analogy
So they can't,
of it
and
being
they
like
can't
golf.
recreate it. So if you can't recreate it and you can't add that little piece that's missing, well, then you don't have the terpene profile, right? You have a fake simile of it.
You know what else they can't reproduce in a lab? That's from nature. Honey.
The sugar from honey.
Honey. Oh yeah. No, that's cool. I never really thought of that.
They never have figured out how to artificially make honey.
It's a special kind of sugar, right?
They might call it that, but it won't taste the same, right? Coffee. It won't be a real deal. And it doesn't go bad.
Your natural honey has like your healing benefits with it that they can't produce in a lab.
There might be a combination of a bunch of plants, right? Because it's the pollen from all these plants, but it could just be that.
Plus, it
the
gets
recipe
mixed with the bee's saliva too. It's something in the bee's saliva.
That's what I mean. Do they selectively go and we gotta go get 3 milligrams of this and 3 milligrams of that? We gotta make our special honey sauce.
They absolutely do. They do.
That's crazy.
Fucking wild.
Because I heard about the bees making honey with weed.
Yeah.
Really?
So I had a buddy that he's a beekeeper, and that's like
how
what
it doesn't.
Stuff.
I don't know.
There's pollen.
I asked him about that. And he said no, they wouldn't. It wouldn't happen because they actually do choose what plants they go to get pollen from. So they would fly right past them. If you had them right next to it, he said they could fly right past them. And
man, that's so cool.
Yeah, he said they'll go more than 2 miles to a different patch to get.
I wonder.
They're not an animal plant.
I wonder if that's part of the terpene. That's like
no, that's the plant.
Defenses.
The plant is an airborne pollinator, not a plant pollinator. There's some where they rely on the bees, and if they don't have the bees, they don't get pollinated. Well, cannabis isn't one of those. And the cool thing about that is the bees know it. That's fucking wild,
I guess
bro.
There's nothing in cannabis that would.
They look at it, they go, "No, you're not one of the ones that need my help."
Because it's not the right color.
Well, it's not the right kind
to attract it, to attract the bees. Well,
there's green plants
by color. That's why those plants that are rely on bees to transfer their pollen from one plant to another, they're brightly colored.
It's genetic programming, bro. It's been billions of years doing something, and now it's just encoded in the genes of the plant. or the
Mother
bee,
Nature's a mad
right? It
scientist.
knows. Like
Mhm.
my cat knows which blade of grass is good for it. It's never taken a grass course. It just knows it, man. Like
Yeah.
that's crazy, you know?
Yeah.
I think
Well,
I
they do
read
that by
somewhere that
smell. It's by scent.
Yeah, exactly.
I
But
read
how does
somewhere
it
that
know that smell? Hey, that's good for me. I should eat that. You know, that's
I
pretty
don't know.
special.
Same way you smell a steak and you say, "Hey, I want to eat that."
Right.
Maybe
It's
that
good for
was my
me.
dad saying, "Hey, you know, he's kept feeding it to me, so I like it." You know?
So you
I
got
mean,
conditioned
did
to
I
it.
choose that? You know, like because they don't learn. You know, there's no cats don't learn. Like their parents show them how to clean themselves and stuff like that. There, but most of it is just inane knowledge. Like they just know.
Yeah, yeah. Just
Like these
ingrained.
birds there that
Ingrained.
can pierce rock. They know which plant is corrosive to the rock, and they take those leaves and they puncture the rock with their beaks there, and they get the juice on the rock. Literally bore holes in the rock with
Wow.
leaves.
What? What are you talking about?
Wow.
I've seen that, man.
That's
There's
wild stuff.
yeah,
That is
it's
some wild stuff.
It's
the
like
birds that do that carved holes in rocks
I don't discount it. I just haven't
with
heard of it before.
corrosive
Sweet.
foliage.
those are instead of woodpeckers, those are rock peckers.
Exactly.
yeah.
They were using the leaves to carve out those rocks
Uh-oh.
because
So is
somehow
that
the
what they were
rock
Tal
doing?
was
says BS the
Building-
bees love weed.
were they
like
building
limestone with
Oh.
acid. You know what I mean? It's
Were
very
they
corrosive.
were they after something in the stone, or were they building nests in the stone?
I think it was about nesting, yeah, or food, maybe food storage. I can't remember, but
Yeah.
I remember that leaf part there, and it was like, whoa, that's trippy, man.
I remember reading somewhere where they said like humans are only born with two fears, and all your other fears are learned. Two of them are born genetically. It was height and loud noises. Is the only two fears that you're born with, and
Yeah,
everything
man.
else from spiders and shit you learn from other people. Now I don't know.
That's
if
how you
that's 100%.
died. That's how you died back then, man. And a
Yeah.
wild animal or a cliff.
Or falling in
Lightning
the
and
hole?
shit. Yeah. But yeah, that's I read that somewhere. I don't know, like I said, if it's 100% true or where I even read
Well,
it, but I wanted to say
I wouldn't even.
That might be
go
most
in,
people.
swimming too, or be able to float, because babies will know that instinctively. You know, you can take a baby and put it in a pool, and it'll instinctively,
Yeah,
roll over on its back and float.
that's an unexplained one. You know, where do we learn
And
that?
the American one's posting in chat on Instagram. He says bees love weed. Huh. There
Yeah.
you go. Let me click on this and see what
Because
it
I
says.
saw that thing about
Throw the link up. Get him
the
in
bee
here.
honey
He's got-
there.
Defend it. He can defend his stance on it.
'Cause
I think the bees. I'm not saying the bees don't go to weed. I'm just saying the bees choose what they fucking go to.
Yeah.
Like I was
Oh,
telling
yeah.
you.
Maybe they were locked in, like in a
Yeah.
greenhouse, and the only option was that cannabis strain
That
that
might
had.
be, but he was like they'll
pollen on it.
fly miles from their hive to
'Cause
get
there's
certain
no-
pollen
Yeah,
at
but
certain
how do
times of
they
year
how
and
do they
certain
collect
things.
it?
There's no pollen on the
Because-
female flowers either, so it would just be
Yeah,
males.
how do they collect it?
But
'Cause
males have
once-
THC and trichomes too, right?
Well, that's
once
the other thing about
the
the story.
pod
it's
opens,
pollen.
it first opens, it gets spread. So how does the bees collect it? They just
It's the smell, right? So it's not cannabinoids, it's not THC, but it
These
might
are
be
all great
terpenes.
questions for the American one to answer.
I
Yeah.
know, and he's
'Cause I
got.
don't know.
But he's
I'm
got
just
an
guessing.
Instagram post, so I don't
If
Yeah.
you
know.
click on his, if you click on his link,
where are you?
man, yeah, if you click on his link, it shows bees all over his.
Let's all
his
meditate.
cannabis plants.
Tao. Tao.
But they're
They'll show
males.
up.
He might show up.
We gotta will them in, eh? Will them
We're
in.
smoking one last joint, Tal. If you want to jump in for a couple minutes, man. I'm
Oh,
gonna
he's an
try to
East
go
Coaster.
till-
It's late. there.
are we going by my joint time? Cause
Yeah.
this thing is so
Oh,
freaking
we'll be here till
big
tomorrow.
and-
man.
Tao's jumping in.
Yeah.
Everyone, fuck it.
Oh, is he?
I don't know. You
Oh.
gotta give him the link.
He's
Yeah,
usually on
I'll
the
show
on
you.
the Eagle shows there, and those are pretty late. So
Yeah. I don't want to put him on the spot, man. If he's doing something or if he's busy or
Bullshit, we'll
whatever,
put him
that's
on the
cool.
spot. He's just jacking off. He can stop. He's
hey,
got-
shit!
He don't even go on camera anyway. You guys won't even know.
Yeah.
Is there a weed nerd world
Hey,
going
crack
on?
on this one. I took one of those one of the end The last one that I packed, and I stuck it in here. So this is a full one. This is like 6.5 grams probably.
Oh, that's the one with the tip in it there? Did you tip?
Yeah, I
Did you
stuck.
put the tip at the start? So you start smoking that first?
Yeah, I stuck it
Nice.
right down here at the end. So yeah, it's
The
in
best,
there.
the best first. Yeah, you wouldn't want to put it last. Holy shit, then it'd be double coated. 2 joints worth of
Right.
resin on it. Oh man. So
So
we got some ego
yeah.
going on there. What's going on? We missing the Weed Nerd World? No. Okay, good.
No.
We're all here talking about it.
I don't know. I like this what do you call it? Anima. I don't know. Not having my camera on behind.
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Yeah,
Just,
Anonymity.
Anonymous.
He
That's
said
what I was trying to
animosity.
stumble
I
over.
was gonna
Anonymous.
say, whoa,
is
whoa,
he really
whoa,
smiley?
hold
Is he
on.
really?
Right?
I'd have
Because
my
you are,
cam,
bro.
but
You're a
yeah,
smiley
I
dude, man. It's
showed
good.
it all day. So
Yeah, it's nice just to sit here and like, I don't know if he was here earlier, Smiley, but we were saying that Doc gave away a light today for someone in the Grow Challenge, the New Year's Grow Challenge. So it was the Photon Tech 600. So afterwards, a bunch of us just decided to come here and smoke a couple joints and hang out. Now it's turned into a couple hours of bullshit, which has been a lot of fun. And I'm willing to go for a little while longer, but I'll be fading fast. Yeah.
It's the after party.
Yeah.
And thanks for being here, Smiley. I didn't get to say hi. I was on a coffee run when you came in, but
Hey, how you doing, Chris?
Hey, that's a good idea.
oh,
I'm
you
gonna
got
go get
coffee?
one.
I had
Oh,
to.
you're,
I'll
I've
be
you're
been
good
back.
for a
hanging
while
out
now. You're good. You got a
We
couple
can
Yeah,
jump
good
out,
to
man. Keeping you up late and shit.
No, we're good till we got a couple inches of snow today, and I'm going to try to use that as a reason just to lay low tomorrow. So I'm good for a little while yet. But I might
I was
end up
gonna
dipping
say
out.
you got work to do in the morning, or you got anything scheduled?
Nothing really, nothing early, that's for sure.
Yeah, not till after late afternoon. So yeah,
He's a masturbator.
it'll be nice to sleep in.
Yes.
That's awesome.
For
Yeah, we're
sure.
supposed to have like a snowstorm warning or snow warning or whatever tomorrow.
It was like 60 degrees here today.
Fuck that. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, man, we got like 6 degrees here. No, it was probably like 20 or something like that. But
I got the dab song in my head there.
oh yeah, we can play
Oh,
it. You can find it somewhere, right? They ain't at 20 though.
no.
What are you talking about? We got like 10 minutes yet for 20.
We don't want to steal that. I don't want Eagle getting mad, man. He might be like, "What the hell you guys doing over there, man? We can't have that shit."
You stole Smiley and the fucking dab song.
Yeah, you stole Smiling, the dab song. Come on, man. You know, I definitely don't want to run the foul over there, but it would just be a homage to him that we brought it up, I should say. You know what I mean? That that's how much when I do, I got it downloaded in my YouTube. The music that I listen to now, it's part of it because I'll catch myself getting out of the shower, drying off. I know that's a picture you don't want to picture, but I'll be drying off and whistling that song in the morning after the show and shit. I'm thinking that's the dab song in my head. That's what it is.
Oh, he's got to dance and everything.
Oh yeah.
No doubt. No, that's cool, man. It's fun hanging out, dude. I don't know. It's fucking always a good time.
I enjoy it, especially this time of year. It's a little easier for me and for some other people. You know, like we have a small business that's just slow right now, man. Plastering business is slow, and you know, so I got a little extra time. I can throw off my schedule, but come spring, you know, or even probably within the next month or two, it's going to start being where I'll probably start disappearing a little bit more, which, you know, that's whatever. But it's fun now to be able to hang out a little extra and to really get involved. And
so
now we got this.
I was just gonna say one other thing on the Lego idea. So here's another like mind fuck or make your mind blow up. There's like there's a billion water molecules in one cell, and some can have up to 5 billion, so they can be bigger and smaller type cells. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Wow,
isn't that fucked up to think too? We always think, oh, there's water in cells, but yeah, there's billion fucking water molecules in a cell.
And then if you think of how many cells are in your body, right?
Yeah.
Is that where you're getting at there?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Or in a
plant.
maybe in a
Yeah,
plant.
multiply that by how many cells are in your body.
Yeah.
And like I said, some
Well,
have
I guess
more,
every
some
cell
have
is
less,
different. It's going to
so.
have a different amount, so it can be made up of a different amount of water cells. So, yeah, that's crazy.
But it'll give you an idea too, because like that water's H2O, you know what I'm saying, or whatever form, so it can remove a hydrogen or add one to it, something like that. Yeah, it can change that around anyway, but it gives you a kind of a size picture to it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like holy shit.
Or combine.
Yep. But that's the other side. Like in a lot of these discussions, we don't really picture like size of a molecule. Like calcium's a big fucking molecule, you know what I mean? Comparatively to a lot of other stuff. So like it's like talking about Saturn versus like Pluto, you know what I mean? In a lot of cases.
Yeah, you bring that up, and I was just thinking about all what you just mentioned about the water cells, and then here comes the American one. But I also wanted to mention that I read somewhere that there was more stars in the universe than there were grains of sand on the Earth. And I think my wife was there when we heard that on one of those how the universe works or something. And I was like, I really had to go over that a couple times in my head, like more stars in the night sky than there are grains of sand. And you start thinking about all the beaches, and it's like mind boggling. It's almost the same. It's almost the same as like, trying to figure out that many billions of, I think we talked about this too, Smiley, about like, I brought this up about light years and how it's hard for us to fathom. We only live 80 years. When you think of a light year, how fast light moves in a vacuum, it's like 186,000 feet per second. That's just mind boggling for humans, and that's just some cool shit that you guys brought up. But anyhow, there's Tal. Tell us about the bees, man.
Yeah, I didn't want you to think I was chickening out. All I know is that my males, and that happens to be Amy Ace's male, those bees, there was hundreds of them, dude. I went up on that patch, and it sounded like a freaking airport.
They were all over it?
All over it, dude. And if you look at those 2 posts I put in there, the bees are like actually opening up the male flowers, and if they can open them up, they're sucking out the pollen. Yep.
Oh shit.
And if the flowers are too tight, when the flowers were too tight, they couldn't open it, but they tried, and then they would move on to the next one. I have like video of it, but it's because Amy tastes so good. That's why. I don't know what those other bees, those other plants must have sucked. That's why.
That's cool though. It was a male though, so that makes sense to at least.
Yeah, it had to be a male.
Is it a new post or an older post?
It's when I put it in the YouTube chat. It's old. It was old. That's old. Yeah.
Because I'm on your channel.
Hey, just so you know that I pay attention, Tal. I recall this story, and I recall you bringing that up because you said that you was in a motorcycle accident or something, and you hurt yourself, and you couldn't get to your growth spot for a long time, so you couldn't end up cutting them males down like you wanted
exactly.
to.
Wow, you pay attention, Smart. That's cool. That's exactly what happened. My arm got road rash all the way up my arm. So if I walked to that patch, I would have got tore up. I'm just like, you know what? I'll just go and see what happened. And when I went there, that's what it was. And the bees were just all over that thing. It was like perfect timing. I'm sure they're not there all the time. Like there was just so many. I was amazed. I was really amazed. But I don't even know if those are honeybees. Like I don't know how bees work. So, but those particular bees were all over that thing.
I know those look like bore bees, like those ones that bore holes into wood and shit. That's what we call them, bore bees.
They were like the big bumblebees, is what they looked like.
Right. So that's a whole nother thing. I don't know, but those 2 bees in particular were like that one. So
yeah, I think bumblebees and regular honeybees are kind of the same there, but then there's the wasp, right?
Maybe they were those cool stoner bees.
Like crispy
if you ever see them, if you see those bees fly away, man, they'll have like pollen real heavy on their hairy legs. So I think they are, like pollinators also, just by nature or whatever,
Yeah, so I have a pretty decent amount of Amy Ace's F2s that I never even popped them yet from outside. From that, I took all that home, and it was all seeded all over the girls. But in those posts, you could also see how different, like they were. I left them like pretty much nature took care of them, and the male plants were all shot up and yellowed out, and the females were still relatively green. So, like, without adding nutrients, the male plants nest on their own, and the females are still going. So probably, I bet you in the wild, the males die off and let their roots get eaten by the females to have more nutrition for the seeds.
That's pretty
But
wild.
that's just something else I noticed, which is pretty crazy.
That's
Because it was
cool
all in the
observation.
same dirt, it was all in the same dirt. So
Yeah. That's a cool observation, man. Yeah, because there was females right beside those plants, if I remember correctly. That's right.
Yeah, I put 2 different posts in the YouTube chat. The second one shows the females and the males next to each other.
Oh, okay. I see it now.
So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Can you put it up on the
you put it in chat right now?
I think you're seeing something nobody else is. So
I was looking at IG there.
yeah,
I'm at the wrong
you can
place.
share that or not? Can you?
Is it in chat here in Zoom?
Oh yeah, hold on.
He put the
I'll
links
copy
up.
it.
Yeah, he put the
put
links up, so maybe other
The links
people
are up
saw.
in the YouTube chat,
Oh,
fellas.
in the YouTube chat. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
It's
then
not-
I wanted to say that
I'm
it
not-
looks
I'm
like
not sure.
our friend Heli Doc got cut off from his chat or something, and he might have not be with us anymore. So shout out to him. Sorry to see you go, and hopefully we'll catch up with you next time, Heli Doc.
Cheers, brother.
Smart, are you on your computer though? I was just gonna say if it is easy, you just share screen and everybody can kind of whatever. So
Let me
if you
see.
don't do it, that's
Mine,
fine
too.
too. I was just saying it's one way to do it too.
What if
Oh,
I
yeah.
make you the? Can
I
I
could
make you the
share screen.
host? Can I make somebody else the host and let them do it?
You can
Where-
give
where's
everybody
the
share
link?
screen abilities. I'll do it.
Yeah, and Tal will do it or whatever. Yeah.
Hold on, let me give you the host. Boom. Yes.
Okay.
You know how to do that though, right? Smart.
Yeah,
He needs
I see it.
He needs a tutor for all this because he is.
That's what we were
he is,
trying to
what
do,
do
and he's
we
like,
call
"No,
it?
here, you
He-
take
he's
it."
handicapped. He's electronically
do it.
handicapped.
There you
Yes.
go.
You see the girls in front of the males, and you can see how much taller the males are as well.
Yeah.
That's Amy getting prego right there, huh? Amy,
Yeah,
and,
Amy, incestual sex, brother and sister.
Amy and the baby. Amy's parents, I guess. It's
But
Amy's
look at
parents.
you can see the girls are all
Bow
green
wow.
and the males are all yellowed out.
That's
Yeah,
Yeah,
awesome.
dude.
birds and the
So he
bees.
finished. He's
We got
finished
the
there.
bees.
Oh, that's a video, eh? I was gonna say,
Yeah,
how the
that
hell are
is a
you doing
video.
that with the image, man? That's crazy.
You can see the girls. The girls are
Like
all
those movies
relatively
there.
green, and they're starting to fade. You see the bottom big fan leaves are
Yeah,
turning yellow,
yeah.
but they're all green at the top. And
Those
the
look
males
nice.
are just like almost spent all the way.
So all the pounds off of those though, Tal? Like,
No. So, oh yeah, here's some footage. That's a branch that was just laid down, and grew like that.
Yep.
Damn, she got big.
I love weed, man. Weed is just awesome. I love looking
That's
at
cool
miracle
out in
weed.
Yeah,
this
that's
wild
why we
like
cut
that,
those
too.
off
Oh,
indoors.
out in nature, even better.
Yeah, so this is out nowhere. Well, it's not out of nowhere actually. It's like in the middle of this patch of woods. It's far and few between
Oh, there we
where
go.
I live, where there's a
Yeah,
patch of
there's
woods. But
bees.
here's the bees like going pod to pod, trying to open them up and shit.
Yeah, they're digging.
That
Man.
is just crazy.
Yeah, those are
man.
honeybees, man. Those are regular honeybees, I think.
Them skinny leaves.
They
on
look
that
big,
thing.
but they're
That's
not
a pro-
necessarily the bumbles.
That's that proprietary, that male.
No, they're both Amy Aces. So they're Amy Aces F2s actually.
Okay, all right. I
That's
was gonna say
crazy,
that's
eh?
skinny leaves, man. Hell yeah.
It is pretty skinny leaf for that male, yeah.
You're looking for that pollen, man.
There's a little bit of purple. Yeah, they're looking for it.
Because
Yeah,
I
they
heard
are
that
looking
there,
for
that
bees.
cannabis
See, there's
could
one.
be
He's trying to open it
a
up.
thing
See,
for
look,
bees.
look.
Look at
Because
that.
bees are.
And he opened it up.
are
He's got his tongue in there and shit.
Yeah,
It's
he's
trying to
sucking it
eat
up,
in
man.
there and shit.
He's sucking it all out, man.
Yeah, you see, he rips it open from the tip of the male pod. See it right there?
Yeah,
You see it
yeah.
open
Yep.
up.
She's
I think that's
sweet.
wild, dude. That shit crazy.
It's trippy.
And then yeah, I think that's the other one I put in first. But yeah, they're just
So
I
bee
heard
pollen
that.
is something you can add to water and water in your soils and shit too. It's like a superfood thing, whatever.
Boy, that's some pretty good footage, man. I'm glad you shot
See,
that.
that's something that I never would have guessed.
I was so amazed. I would have fasted
Me
for an
either.
hour, you know? I was so, like, yeah. And looking at the mail and, like, yeah, it was pretty cool being there.
I've seen footage where they've got them all over the ladies too, but I don't know exactly the circumstance behind all that either. But
I
Those
guess
are
if it
definitely
got
cool as fools.
pollinated, then it would be all over the female too, but it's not
well, like
really
a
the
decade
source.
ago, there was a guy claiming he had his bees make honey from it and shit.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be a pretty good trick. I find that hard to believe, right? Smiley?
So it was like THC infused honey, but it was like naturally done through the bees, as what the story was of it. But I don't.
Yeah, that's probably what I saw then. It's that same story repeated somehow.
So, but yeah, I think that was totally cool. I got footage of those bees eating on that.
Because I heard something about that there was a shortage of what bees need to collect the pollen, right? There wasn't enough flowers for them to. So that
they were saying
cannabis
Roundup
was a
killing
potential a plant that would help them because they could somehow get some pollen from them.
But imagine it's similar to like like Matthew Gates always talking about like banker plants, or where you can keep, you know, predators and they eat the pollen or whatever. I would imagine it's kind of like along that lines, right? Like
Yeah, in the
Oh,
wild,
yeah.
there's males that'll support the good bugs that'll go on the girls when they need to. Yeah.
because there's a lot of
Yeah.
different insects that'll eat the pollen. You know what I mean?
yeah. It could be an
So if
attractor
that's
there,
not a,
man. I wouldn't.
if those weren't honeybees, then what do they do with that pollen?
Yeah, I don't know.
It'd be an energy source for them, I would imagine. Because
Yeah,
there's
maybe
a
they're
lot.
just eating it.
There's a
Well,
lot
the
of
yeah,
a lot
the
of
pollen
nutrients.
is to make the honey, right? And the honey is to support the.
Well,
Is
those
it the
were those
colony, I guess?
honeybees?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know.
Maybe all bees
It looked
make
like
honey,
it.
but some, like, they just train or can make the ones with the honeycomb do that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like maybe there are honeybees that collect pollen, but they don't have no pollen to collect. So the only thing they're exposed to is that male cannabis plant, and so they go and collect that
That wasn't the
and
Well,
case.
bring
that's
it back
pollen
to the
too, though.
honeycomb. I'm just assuming now. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I'm assuming that's how they did it, right?
My
They
buddy
did
was
it.
saying you can actually see it in the honey too, like when they collect different pollens throughout the year of them. Because you know what I mean? It takes them a little while to build up the honey before they collect the honeycomb or whatever. And he's
Yeah,
like,
they
if
build it
you
up.
break
It
that
gets bigger
back
and
and
bigger.
you'll see an actual color difference, almost like waves of different shades.
Yeah, that's pretty trippy.
Oh
I bet.
yeah, that might be different strains or whatever, different
Yeah, he
plants.
said it's all different pollen they collect throughout whatever different time of the year. And
And different plants will make pollen at different times of the year too.
yeah,
Yeah,
Pretty
I've had
cool.
honey
Yeah.
that was like flavored. I guess it was, what was it? Can't remember.
There
but
was
it
like lavender honey. The bees were eating or were on lavender
Yeah.
plants.
Yeah.
or
Yeah, clover.
clover. Yeah, that's it.
something. Yeah, or something.
I saw a couple different ones. Yeah.
and that
It's pretty
translates
cool.
into the honey.
Blossom. Out of some sort of blossom. They call it. Certain
Yeah, it's
flower
like-
blossom.
Like you smell it in the honey though.
Oh yeah, some
I
have
think
different
taste.
taste. Yeah.
Yeah, different taste. And I think
Yep.
some of the colors were different. Like if you had jars of different kinds beside each other, some were a lot darker.
Oh,
depending
yeah.
on-
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
they
know
will
what-
be.
And I was told the less processed, the darker it'll be and the better.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
Yeah.
stuff
yeah,
you buy in
yeah.
the store is they kill out a lot of the good shit.
Yeah, that creamed white stuff there. That's probably not.
That
Well, there's a lot of
raw- that's
biology
the
in that.
raw.
Yep.
I
And I heard
eat it.
of-
I eat honey every day. Put it in my coffee.
My wife buys the raw honey by the jar, and it always has a piece of the comb.
That's pretty
stuck in
cool.
the jar.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the real deal.
Yeah.
They say if
So
if
there's some-
bees
there's
disappeared
some
today, that
lucky
humans
farmers
would
around here
follow 4
somewhere.
years afterwards.
All plants would die. There would be no more,
Yeah,
pollination.
because there's so many plants that rely on that to
Everything.
continue life.
Bees are
Our whole
important.
food chain relies on
Cannabis
it.
has both.
Right.
Good wind or the bees will do it.
But bees
Yeah.
are multiple different species too. So there's, what I mean? Like, what are we
Yeah.
specifically talking about? Because that's like a whole family of insects, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, what about those Africanized ones that are apparently taken over there?
Yeah, those things are
Leave it up to
wicked.
a
The
bunch of
gang
stoners.
bees.
They fuck
Leave it
up
up to a bunch of stoners to get lost in bees on weed for an hour, man. That's good shit right there. I
The
like
best
that.
bees, the
It's
best
a-
started
bees
with
are
a
honey,
good
man.
subject to jump into, man. This is
Hell
something
yeah.
that's,
the crispy
it's
wannabes.
kind of a crossover. There's always a
Ah,
crossover
yeah.
between weed
The
and
cool
something
stoner
else.
bee.
So.
The crispy wannabe. I like that.
Yeah, I do too.
All right, you know what, boys? I'm out of here though, and crispy. I'm out of here. I got to go do some things before I crash, and then I got shit to do tomorrow.
Cheers,
No doubt.
Tal, man.
But,
Nice seeing you, bro.
I
Good
want to
night.
come up and defend my marijuana for the bees.
Yes, thank you so much.
Right
Yeah,
on,
we
bro.
You
appreciate
totally flipped my mind on that, so I appreciate that.
There you go. No worries. Peace out, everybody.
it.
Yeah,
Thank
nice.
you,
Better-
Kyle.
love.
better
Grow
Tal.
love, buddy.
Yeah, grow
I
up
gotta
to
go
you
get my
guys.
beauty rest too, so I'm gonna jet and leave you in the capable hands of Smart
I'm coming.
Poker here, and thank you everybody. It was awesome hanging out with you.
Thank Crispy.
Good night, Crack Baby, Smiley, Puffy. Grower love to all of you, everyone in chat and out there in the grower world.
See you, Crispy.
Yeah,
Thank
grow
you.
love. Have a good evening.
Monday.
Throw that. Yeah, I guess I should hop out too there. What time is it? Oh, 12:30. We did a nice
Yeah.
stretch there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it ended
Yeah,
up
we
hanging
did
out
it
for a
late
while,
tonight.
man.
That's
Well,
good.
we've had some good talks on this one.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Thanks to Smiley there. He's got some good topics there. I like talking
Yeah.
with Smiley. He's a good guy.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
more of a learning experience than the last time we did this. Last time
Yeah.
we were just hanging out and BSing, but this time we actually got to
Hang
get
out.
our
Yes,
school
about
on.
bees.
Yeah, man.
Well,
Good
this is
stuff,
cool, man.
man.
We're just getting our feet wet here as a group, and having our little show here or whatever you want to call it. It's nice to see more people coming around and hanging out and talking, and so hopefully it'll pick up more steam and we can have more of this shit going on.
Oh,
Yeah,
guys
you're gonna have
are-
to come back more often, Smiley.
I will, man. Yeah, it's cool. I like
Yeah.
it. So
You're more than welcome.
Yeah.
well, I'll jump out,
But,
man. Let Smot try to get a little piece before Monday. So.
Yeah, man. If you guys want to give shout outs or anything or whatever, go ahead and do your thing, man. And however you want to go ahead and do it.
Oh shit, I'm Smiley's Garden. You guys can. I'm on YouTube. I do a weekly garden tour. So if you want to follow along to that, hang out with Eagle Gardens. So I'll shout Eagle out. Monday nights Weed Nerd World's 11:30. So
Hell yeah.
I normally do shout outs. That's like different, man. I'm usually
Yeah.
like.
Cool.
Well, sometimes people here's a good example. Like, I
Oh,
don't
Jack
know.
Jack just came in the chat.
It's good for later, you know,
Oh.
when people watch it, they're like, you pick up
Yeah,
new
man.
followers that way. It's not a bad thing.
Hey, he has to
No,
do
I-
it. The panel's open.
Oh
There.
man, Jack's coming in as soon as we're getting on. It's been a long day, man. We've had a big crazy day, but hopefully we can come on a little bit more here. And
We all want you to go get laid, man, before Monday. So
Yeah.
you know how it is, man. I love you, Smiley. That's awesome.
all right,
I'm
man. Have
sure
a
Jack
good
will
day.
understand.
Right now, it's
No,
my
yeah,
good night.
Smiley. People might want to come and check him out, you know, and check out his his garden. Like he said, he does a weekly walkthrough and shit. So that's why I always like people to do a shout out, and then everybody can go check them out on their own and get some good advice. He's more geared towards soil and shit. So it definitely would behoove someone to go track him down before you
For sure.
track me down asking about soil. That's for sure. But yeah.
Yeah.
And shout out to Jack. I apologize, man. That you're just now jumping in. But yeah, we had a long day, and we're gonna get some sleep. We appreciate you coming by, and we enjoy all the good people that are coming trying to jump in here and share their knowledge. So, but yeah, go ahead. If one of you guys want to go next, we can get some rest here.
Yeah, well, cheers, Jack, man. Nice seeing you. Thanks for having me tonight. That was really
Yeah.
cool. And I'm Crack Babies, DWC on YouTube and IG, and Crack Babies on CFC. And then I'm here on Sundays, 10 to 2. Sundays and Confused. And I'm going to be on Eagle there on Friday. Fucking talking shit with Eagle. Not too sure the episode number there, but Friday night, 11:30. Be nice to see you. Have a great night, guys. And thanks, Scott, Chat, and Smot and Puffy. Have a great night.
That's 11:30 Eastern Standard Time, everybody. Just
that's
so
right.
You know.
All right, I guess I'll go next here. I'm Puffy D. You can find me over Coco Cannabis as Puffy D and Puffy D 1974 on Instagram. Just want to say thanks for putting this on, Smot. You know, this was fun. So I like doing this after any kind of giveaway or anything. You know, kind of just hang out and talk about whatever light it is that's been given away and who's gotten it, and you know. So yeah, I enjoy doing this. Hope we just keep doing this after every giveaway, and we get more people coming in and hanging out with us, and you know, kind of showing us what they got going on, and you know, or just you know, like chat like we did tonight. You know, learn some things that didn't know before. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely with the bees.
So, yeah, appreciate it, and thanks for everybody in chat for stopping by and hanging out with us. So appreciate that, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Cheers, Puff.
Hell yeah, Puffy. Thank you. And we are very humbled that people enjoy coming by here and that we're able to do this and that you guys make all this possible. And we're just happy to be a part of it, be able to learn. And I reiterate what everybody else said, the grower love. We appreciate everybody, and we'll see you around hopefully more often. And have a great week, everybody.